An Australian, he was out in it. Pato had to go in it. He loved it. Then we have the two-seater, which is also from the '98 season, and then my car, which is the MP4 27, which is from 2012, which is the car Lewis won his last two races with us in, and so I was just out in that, and not driving it as fast as Lewis.
Not driving it as fast as Lewis, but driving it very fast indeed, sir. Every time I look up, you're out in a car and racing around this circuit. And you like bringing cars to the circuit as well that have history. You're here with McLaren, obviously, just reeling off some fantastic cars, but I know you've got sports cars and another F1 car here as well.
Yeah, I've got the FW07, which is from 1980, the Alan Jones World Championship car. Which is a great car. I remember it like it was yesterday. My first Formula One race I went to was '81 when Alan Jones won in Long Beach in a very similar looking car, just a year on. And then I've got out Lancia that sat on pole at Le Mans in '84, which is a great looking car. And then I just noticed they wheeled out my 935, but that's a leftover from the last race. So I love looking at all the cars that are here.
And it's a really exciting event as well. The first time the Velocity Invitational has been in this format at Laguna Seca, and McLaren, huge sponsor of it. And, you know, how do you see the weekend playing out as we find ourselves nearly at the business end of Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been safe. It's been on time, which is something that's, tricky on historic weekends. It's been great racing and some awesome cars and, all the big collectors from around the world. So I think for a year two event, since took a year off last year because of COVID, I think it's a huge success and looking forward to many more.
Yeah, and one just last quick question, because I was following you on the social media. I know this week you were up at the COP26 summit, talking about the Extreme E, unveiling the livery there. And on Friday night you had a sit-down forum about the future of motorsport and sustainability. This is something, obviously, that you're really tuned into at the moment.
Yeah, it's critically important. I think, sustainability is a huge topic for everyone, both on the corporate and personal level. I don't think there's anyone that it's not impacting, and so we decided to enter Extreme E to really get deeper into that topic, feature what we're doing, work with our partners on it, our fans, and see what we can do to not only be great sport and entertainment, but contribute our technology and our know-how to making the world a better place. I think we all have a role in that.
Brilliant. Zach, thanks ever so much. I won't take up any more of your time. You've probably got another car to race before the day's out. Kiri, over to you. I understand you're on pit lane. Thanks ever so much, Zach.
Thank you very much.
Kiri, over to you. I understand you're on pit lane.
Very definitely motorsport moving with the times, but for now we're looking back over the times. Okay, 1957 to 1965 cars. These are under 2.5 litres. Now, it's the first time in a while that we might have been able to grab an interview. Ranson Webster, if you can hear me in there, which I hope, because it's a little quiet here, can you tell us a little bit about the car and how it came into your hands?
Well, this is one of 20 Abarth Carreras built. This is the car that ran at Sebring in 1962, driven by Strela, and it's just a great car to drive. It's more fun than you can imagine.
Well, that is what a lot of people say about these Porsches. So much fun out there. So heading out onto Laguna Seca, that's got to be a dream come true.
I can't hear you.
You heard me for the first one, so we'll take that. You enjoy it out there. Thank you so much. All right, well, we managed to get a little bit of a word. It is very difficult to hear because even if all of the engines aren't running, you can still hear that it is so loud down here. All right, well, this is Robert Stoker in the Alfa Romeo. Robert, if you can hear me, can you tell us a little bit about this car and how it came into your hands?
Sure. It's a 56 Julietta Spider. The reason why it's number 163 is it's the 163rd off the production line and the oldest one still racing in the world, but it's a blast to drive. It slides, it does everything perfectly. It's really a pleasure.
And how did it end up in your hands?
Say that again?
How did it end up in your hands?
Oh, I'd been looking at it for about 10 years before I was able to buy it 3 years ago. And I don't think I'll ever get rid of it. Racing out here in an event like this and having all these cars around me, it's literally like a museum come to life.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. Enjoy it out there. All right, we'll head down to car 96 now. Now, this is David Perkins. He's also in an Alfa Romeo. So, David, we'll just sneak in here. How you doing? How did you come by this car?
Grace of God. And a little help from my wife. She helped pick it out. She thought it was pretty.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about the history of this car?
About the what?
The history.
Well, it was a street car that saw no life in races, so it was coddled, and I'm taking it out and really romping on it. So, yeah, I'm trying to give it some race history.
Fantastic. Well, you enjoy it out there.
Thank you very much.
Okay, well, we'll walk down the line now because it is a bit of an Alfa Romeo show. Now, we'll leave it as the engines roar. It does become very difficult to hear. Now, car number 11, slightly different to the rest of the cars out here. It is the Triumph that you're looking at from 1961. And then, of course, another Alfa Romeo. But right now, you are looking at that Triumph driven by John Ganaway. All right, now car number 69. Again, another Alfa Romeo. Just absolutely fantastic, aren't they, out here? A big lineup of cars. We've got 24 cars lining up to head out onto Laguna Seca in this category. All right, well, we've got cars rolling out now, so I think they might actually be moving positions, so we'll keep showing you for a minute. This is car number 56. I'm just looking down my list to see if we can find a driver for car number 56, but it might be an illustrious driver that we haven't heard of. Car number 19 is in my sights now. Now, this is Steve Schmidt. Steve, I doubt you can hear me, but are you looking forward to heading out on the track?
Absolutely. This is the best event. We are really having a good time. The guys did a great job. We want to be back in October.
Enjoy it out there. I know you will. Okay, well, that is, as we said, car number 19, and it is a Porsche Speedster. Okay, well, guys, as the engines start to rev, it's probably time to hand back to you.
Yeah, beautiful sand, and it's starting to rev up again. Thanks, Kiri. Thanks, Tony. Great work. And as we look at Velocity Lane, great concept specifically for this weekend, but we do have a plethora of wonderful Porsches out there, and it is thumbs up all the way here at Laguna Seca. Guess who's joined us again? James Alden. You've been talking to some of these drivers in 4B. What have they said? Who have you talked to?
I tell you what, it's just a great group, and like many of the participants here, they live to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, was it, Adam, you might know the character of which I speak, Michael Delaney.
Yes.
He was, of course, the character that Steve McQueen played in the movie Le Mans.
Yep.
And famous for saying, you know, racing is living.
Yep.
And everything else is just waiting.
Yeah, I always want to come and find an expression that'll be as good as that, but there isn't as one I've ever come across.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
That's what I've lived by, so yeah.
Yeah. Feel the same way. As I mentioned to you earlier, there are some local people here. Max Jamieson from Carmel Valley, number 47 in a 57 356 Speedster. We have in the TR4 one of two Triumphs here, I believe. The other one is the Group 44 TR8, but this is a 61 TR4, early TR4. John Ganaway also lives here in Carmel Valley.
Wow, what great shots by Tony. He's really phenomenal at this.
Well, it's a dolly, surely. He can't be walking through.
No, he is. Did you see his shadow?
No.
Yeah, his shadow. You can see him.
Some people say he doesn't have one.
Oh, yeah, but he just, we just saw it, so we get 6 more weeks of fall. If Tony Garcia sees his shadow at Velocity Invitational, it's 6 more weeks of fall.
Oh, no. Nice one. So what are the conditions like out there, James? You've been racing out there. How's the track holding up? Is it really?
Wonderful, yeah, it's great. I mean, it's gotten a little warm. When I went out early this morning about 8:30, it was just absolutely ideal. But, you know, the driving here, I mean, this event, I don't think that Steve Earle could have arranged a better weather conditions.
Yeah, no kidding. And Adam, you know this circuit well. How do you compare it? Forget the famous iconic names and corners. As a track, is it grippy? Is it slippy? Does it rubber in well? What's it like?
I don't think we've ever had grip at Laguna.
Okay, good.
It's because you've got sand. I mean, it's always got the airs blowing the sand on the track. So yeah, I tell you, it's a challenging place for that reason. The conditions are always changing. It is rather, as we saw last night, or after we've seen both evenings that we've gone out racing, is once the sun disappears behind the hill and quits beating down on the pavement, the lap times really actually start to drop because the grip levels really come up. The engines love that cool air and that dense air that we end up getting in the evenings. Any kind of downforce that the cars are generating are going to generate even more. So it's really, really fun from that aspect. But this is a driver's track. So and it's a driver's track not only for the layup, but like you said, the surface.
So really, we should go and race in Finland more often.
Oh, of course. What'd be wrong with that? I'm sure Miko would be okay.
Yeah.
Looks like Racine Webster, who's from Reno, is either on the pole or right next to the pole position. He is number 49 in the Porsche Abarth. That's a very rare car, one of 6.
Wow. He's got 2 of the 6.
Yes.
So that's good. That's a good ratio. He's got like 33% of them.
Right. And then Marnix Delenius, nicknamed the Demon.
The Demon.
He's in the Alpha GTZ, and it looks like he's gridded way up there.
So being led round a big field, a huge field with plenty of Alfa Romeos, plenty of Porsches.
In fact, it looks like Marnix is right next to John Ganaway. They're in about 5th and 6th, respectively.
Well, we got to get things gridded up here out of turn 10. Coming into turn 11 here, nice and tidy.
Yeah, let's see if we can group them up and bunch them up together as best we can, because we don't want the stragglers to miss out on a good race. We've had some excellent racing so far. As you can see, they're all hurrying to get into line.
Yeah, the pace car really needs to keep it slow, get them all caught up. But boy, the butterflies are really big right now, going around 11 and then starting to look for the green.
Here we go. Group 4B, a huge field, and away they go.
The Alfa Romeo there, Mark Leonard, really taking off on the start, but that's going to be contested as they get to turn 1 by the number 49 of Racine Webster.
Look at Racine, look at that. He's trying to close that door. Let's see how the brakes hold up going into the Andretti hairpin. Whoa.
That's what you want to do with a car that they built like 20 of, is just go ahead and make it as close as possible.
6 in that case.
Actually, 20 as my notes, but yeah, it could be 6.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But yeah,
I might have it wrong.
But nonetheless, it's rare.
Yes,
no matter how you look at it, it is rare air.
When you're racing historic cars, James, what's your biggest fear in terms of parts that could go wrong? I mean, I know you're not in hell bent for leather all the time, but what do you worry about?
Well, I worry about what happened to Bill Rookledge when his axle broke. I mean, I've broken 5 axles over the years, and the wheel separates from the vehicle. And whenever you lose a wheel on a vehicle at speed, generally speaking, nothing good happens. It's all bad.
You're a passenger at that point, for
yes.
sure. I've been there, and you're along for the ride.
Yeah.
But good race here going into the corkscrew. No one really taking any chances, but see where they tend to find a little bit more time under braking, especially Robert Stoker there in that 1956 Alfa Romeo Giulietta Spider.
Now, Racine has really got the bit in his mouth, it looks like.
Love seeing those 356 speedsters come through that corkscrew. That's a really special sight.
Yeah. Ganaway, it looks like he's in 4th position in the TR4. He's got some hot competition there. One of the cars is pulling off there into the hot pit lane, so something's going on right there. Now Ganaway now is in 3rd position, and look at that! Oh man, that's double overhead cam 4-cylinder Alfa Romeo out accelerating Ganaway.
Nicely
Robert Stoker is in that Alfa Romeo.
The older Giulietta. Of course, there's a modern version of the Giulietta these days.
Yes, there is.
The first original Giulietta Spider. Stoker in 4th place at the moment, just holding off Michael Sweeney and Horatio Fitzsimon in the Lotus Elan, just behind in 5th position.
Opened up quite a gap.
Yes,
opened up quite a gap, Getting to get a little bit racy up front again as David Perkins is closing the gap here on Racine Webster.
Looks like Mark Leonard was the car that went off.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Yeah,
yes.
We lost them from timing scoring.
And he was in 2nd position there.
Yes, he was.
Now this car that Horatio Fitzsimmons driving right now won, I think, yesterday. No, excuse me, that's the Alfa Romeo of Marnix Delineus in that number 7. There's a couple of number 7s out there.
Well, that's the GTZ. Marnix has been racing that car for, I believe, longer than I have been racing the XK120 for.
Wow. Down the famous corkscrew. What a wonderful shot. Good job, Lake. You're doing a heck of a job, mate.
It's shaping up to be a really good race again in position 1, 2, and 3. That's amazing. And vintage racing, they have it this tight.
This is
well, that Lotus just got sideways there.
Totally,
that green Lotus got sideways big time.
Yeah.
It's a good little battle this then.
Oh, yeah. And again, you want to see the race within the race. Look at that early 911 dicing with the Lotus Elan right behind the Alfa GTA or GTV.
Yeah, that's a 65.
Lotus on the inside makes a great pass there, coming right in the middle of 11.
Yeah, this is the battle to stay in the top 10, 7th, 8th, and 9th.
That's what, of course, what I was saying earlier, Jonathan and Adam. You want to find the race within the race. It could be for 15th position. Looks like the brakes on 09 there are going out a little bit.
Yeah, that's Matthew Polk there in Alfa Romeo GTA. Having a good little scratch there with Ed Matsuishi in that 1965 Porsche 911. They got a good little scrap going there for about mid-pack here. 6th, 7th place.
Good start to this one. The field spreading out here. Mid-afternoon here at the Velocity Invitational. We've got through some good group racing and we've got some great exhibitions already and more to come. So stay with us. We've got a 917 exhibition and more McLaren races to come, or racing McLaren cars to come. As well as we finish off the day with the mini Mustang Enduro race. I bet you enjoyed that.
Oh, that's amazing. And the opportunity that they have to race into dusk and into night. I mean, that's really a bucket list dream. You're like you're at Sebring, Le Mans, Daytona.
Well, they all feel like they've saved the best for last, and I agree. They put on such a great show. It's so entertaining. I think they're really catching on to something here in the United States, and this David versus Goliath, that's a great story.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, we love it here.
Well, in motorcycle racing, we used to have the sort of America versus Britain in motorcycle racing, and there's no reason why we can't bring that tradition back here.
Exactly.
So you just throw a blanket over that top 4
I know.
that just went across us. I mean, that's just absolutely incredible racing. That's shaping up here. I mean, there's still plenty of time left in the session that we got going on here.
Nice little 356 speedster. It's Robert Can.
So we're going to go ahead and say goodbye to our friend James Alder for now. We're going to welcome in a new guest.
Thanks, James. Perfect. If I don't see you, drive safe back to Reno.
Thank you very much, Jonathan.
Lovely to have him in. And look up James Alder on the internet. You can see plenty of shots of his XK120, the man from Reno. And he loves his historics, and he's been a big part of American racing over the last 20 years. And we're delighted to have him as part of the Velocity Invitational. Just one of the drivers of many here this weekend. And we welcome in, and as they say in my country, and now for something completely different. Welcome, Ryan Lewis.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking at Matt Johnson. What have you been up to? We saw you interviewed earlier today.
Yeah. Indeed, this is unheard of.
Well, this is great. You get more coverage in it.
It's the famous Ryan Lewis. We weren't going to go without talking to you at least half as many times as we talked to Zach Brown today.
We've even got your name up.
Wow.
How about that? So you work for McLaren and you're a driver coach?
Yeah, do a lot of driver coaching, a lot of manufacturer work. Not as much professional racing anymore.
What part of America are you from?
Sparta, Kentucky.
Gotcha. Yeah, me too. I'm from East Texas.
Yes.
Way east. London town.
Way out there, yeah.
Andretti, you're an Indianapolis boy, right?
I'm just outside of Berkshire.
Okay, good. But you guys know each other from Indianapolis, right?
We know each other from working, actually. We don't ever see each other at home in Indy.
And we think we're both of that age then, aren't we, Andrew? Kind of, Adam, we're like hermits, really, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't really leave my house that much anymore.
No, when you get home, when you live on the road like we do, when you get home, you become a homebody. And, you know, my adventures are out to dinner, to a park, go a little hiking, but everything is very private, nothing really too exposed. And And it's so funny because we run into each other while we're on the road. We're like, okay, it took 3,000 miles.
It's a racetrack. It's not really in Indianapolis.
So what's your job in this weekend specifically?
So this weekend I'm just looking after some hot lap rides for McLaren Automotive and McLaren Racing guests and customers.
Well, I've always been interested. We don't have to put names out, but what are the kinds of folk that get to do that? Are they McLaren owners, or are they you said guests, but what kind of cat comes to come and do
Yeah, I mean, certainly I'm a little bit less informed on the McLaren Racing side. These are people that are guests of McLaren that McLaren have asked to, you want to come do something fun, something interesting involving the brand. Certainly more on the sides when it's involving a car dealer, motive, it will be people that are existing owners, people that are prospects. What's a better opportunity to try and convince someone to purchase your vehicle than sticking them in a car with Patrizio Award?
Yeah, that's a good sell. That's a good sell.
Yeah,
one for sure. Have you been getting hot laps out there?
Yeah, I've been doing a bit of driving. Me and Pato have been sharing the time.
What have you driven today and yesterday?
McLaren 720S Spider, so absolutely brand new car. I think it had 200 miles on it when it showed up here.
I had not realised. I'm well aware of the automotive side of since the mid-90s or since the 90s and how it's developed, but I didn't realise how many different types and iterations of McLaren road cars there really are now. It's becoming quite a fleet now.
Yeah, it's definitely exploded. Since the days of say the MC12, over 10 years ago now, and it's really expanding the product line with the Sport and Super Series cars, and now obviously the most prolific, the ones that you'd see most of, Top Gear and such, cars like the Senna, the Sabre, and I'm sure Lord knows what they have.
What is the price tag on a Senna? We were speculating earlier. I was around $2 million.
As a McLaren pseudo-employee, I would not care to speculate on the market value of a Senna.
I cannot confirm or deny anything you speak of.
Oh, come on. Yeah, like we're being live streamed somewhere.
That's exactly, by the way, what Ron Dennis would have said if asked the same question.
Yes. I know, but I have to ask, right? I'm in these positions now. I get to ask the fun stuff.
I stick to my side of the business, which is looking after customers and the driving side.
Smart man.
I stray away from products.
Yeah, so you can send a product specialist up here, and they'll
could do
that.
Someone from corporate, preferably.
There you go.
Someone their head can roll instead of mine.
I know this is another question you can't answer, but which car do you enjoy driving?
Which do I enjoy driving? The 765 LT. I didn't think the 720 could be any faster. It was already a complete spaceship on the road. It's a very comfortable car, but just incredibly fast, terrifyingly fast. And then they build the 765 LT, which is the next step up, the next iteration. So LT stands for long tails. This is part of McLaren's heritage of going back to the F1 with the long tail McLaren's racing at Le Mans. And this car is just another step forward in performance again. I remember the first time I drove it last year in California, and I was sitting with another McLaren driver, and we both kind of just looked at each other like, oh my God, how fast is this thing? This is crazy.
Well, I remember we were at Brickyard doing Pure at the Speedway.
Yeah.
And just the speed that we were doing down the front straightaway, I mean, it rivaled what we do in a GT1 car.
Oh, yeah.
It's absolutely incredible.
And road cars now, I mean, all manufacturers, the road cars that they can produce and how fast they are, it's just incredible. Like at Coda, you're sitting in a 720. It shows you how easy these cars are to drive now as well. It's like without fail, even if you had somebody that had never driven on a track before, they're sitting, obviously they have one of us instructing them, but 175 miles an hour, lap after lap, no problem.
Without trying, yeah.
Without trying.
Without breaking a sweat. No, that's
Boys, we're watching a heck of a race here.
This is a phenomenal race. These are fun. Do you ever get out there and do any vintage stuff? Have you ever been able to?
Not as much recently. My last vintage race I did was the 50th anniversary Formula Ford race at Road America.
Oh, okay.
That's
good stuff.
Dominated the field.
There you go.
What's your history?
Ryan Lewis style.
Background, well, so started racing back in the United Kingdom, series called T, and then moved into Formula Palmer Audi in 2002, won the championship in 2003, British National Formula 3 champion in 2004, and then did the International Series 2005, didn't win the championship. But and then I came to the United States in 2006 to race in Champ Car Atlantic.
Okay.
And I've been here ever since. The authorities have tried to get rid of me a couple of times, but I've managed to stay.
Incognito in Motortown, you'll be fine.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
That's why he leaves in Indy. He can just go hide in the cornfields.
Exactly.
That's it. And then sports cars after that. So a bit of Here and there, a lot of endurance racing since then in prototype cars. So last year raced at Daytona in a 24, finished third with Era Motorsport in an LMP2 car.
Nice. I bet that was a great experience.
Surprisingly easy car to drive.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Heck of a race coming here, too. As they come around turn 12 here, they might see the white flag this time by, but maybe not. No. I think they're going to get one more lap.
Well, I hope we do.
I do, too.
This is going down to the wire.
This is coming in. I mean, the 961 of Ed Matsuishi has
just did
come
his fastest
from
lap
nowhere.
the last lap, and now he's done it again. Taking the lead.
He's been cracking them off. And then 1965 Porsche 911.
Like, how cool is that picture as well? You've got two Porsches. Is that Bizzarini and then got a Sprint Veloce?
Yes.
Fourth?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, going hammer and tongs.
Yeah,
really good.
This is what we love about this race. I mean, what have been your impressions? You've been to a lot of these. I've known you for quite a few years. What are your impressions of the Velocity Invitational and how they pulled this event off?
But yeah, I mean, knocked it out of the park for that first event, really, at Laguna Seca. I've done this sort of stuff for a long time. It's so hard to pull all these things together and put an event together. And this is I think for the United States, this is a big step up in trying to make an effort to welcome the fans in and trying to make this a big kind of blue ribbon event that's focused on the fans having some enjoyment. This is definitely a bit of a different theme. Some fantastic cars. I mean, I've been around a lot of vintage racing, coaching guys, and doing some racing myself. And there's some stuff here that I have not seen.
Right.
That has come out, that people have pulled some stuff out. I was like, wow, that's pretty special. So there's some stuff that's come out that I have not seen before. Really,
and that's saying something, folks. I've known Ryan for quite a few years, and he's not a man that'll sit there and just blow smoke. If there's something there that he's seen that's impressive, that's saying something.
And how many three GTOs racing this weekend?
I know,
right. Racing, not just on display, but racing. They're going to come to the white flag right now.
Well, since Ed got the lead in the 961, number 961, 1965 Porsche 911, he's taken off. He's got back markers in front of him. Could be a heck of a lap, though, for the battle for the podium. Side by side out of 12. And then almost three-way now behind. Here's the white flag. Look at this, guys.
Now, this is good stuff. This is what this stuff's all about. And if you think that they're just out there, cruising around Sunday Drive, this is, it couldn't be more mistaken. This is definitely, outbreaking themselves and doing their best to hit their marks. And
everything's an opportunity here. Right. You haven't got to rely on downforce or a big slick tire. So like every corner, you've got half a shot of actually getting it done.
That's right. No, that's a really good point. That's a really good point.
David Perkins leading this group of three on this last lap. Ransom Webster, who led early on, and Robert Stoker just behind him in fourth place in the Giulietta Spider.
We were talking yesterday, how like the race cars of the era were more the boogeyman. Like that's what got blamed for some of the darkness of the era. But really, the circuits have made such huge improvements that we would now have concrete 3 inches from the edge of the track at a at a 100 mile an hour, 90 degree corner approach.
There's a bit of context now.
Yeah. So I think that's really what has made vintage racing the wonderful sport that it is too. Is the circuits have gotten so good with their safety.
Well, and then I think there's probably a few of these cars, a lot of vintage cars that run now that are probably quicker now than they ever were in period, especially with the tyre technology. To a certain extent, people are probably a bit more willing because they've got a modern cage. They're probably a bit more willing to take some more chances.
The aggregate too, even the pavement.
I have an update.
You do?
The transponder on the actual leader is car 7. It's got no transponder.
Oh.
We've been fooled.
Wonderful update. Yeah, well, we don't want to make that mistake.
No.
And that's who just took the checkered flag.
There you go. So, just in time.
Just in time. Way to pick it out.
Who'd have thunk it?
Now, this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is Jonathan Green. Not only is he your commentator, he is your fact checker. He is also your transponder.
Well, I acted quickly when a British car crossed the line in America.
Well, Horatio Fitzsimon, comes home with the win. Look at him.
Who won yesterday, I may add.
That's impressive.
But his transponder's not working, which I suppose is a fireable offence, or at least, shot at dawn.
It's really not working, because it has him fifth.
Well, it is a Lotus, so I assume he removed the transponder to add lightness.
Yeah, it's probably an idea of Chapman. Make it lightweight.
Either that or his British Electronics.
Well, there is,
steady, steady.
The transponders by Lucas.
No mention of Leyland or Lucas shall be had in America from here. We're far enough away where we can slag them off from here.
Very good.
Amen to that. That was a great race. It was a great race, and enjoy our guests that we had up here with James Adler and obviously Ryan Lewis. Thank you for joining us. And you're not at the McLaren Pure event that was at COTA this week.
No, I was dispatched here.
Yeah.
Special envoy.
Last
minute. I would have been at Pure, but
I figured this much. Yeah, because they even called me. That must be because you had
they're really scraping the barrel if they're calling you.
Goodness gracious. Boys, you could take this to the bar. We'll pause for a moment there, and more action from Velocity Invitational in a moment. Now, Sergey Gay Jr. is down in the paddock, and he's with our Kev Harris. Kev, over to you.
Thanks, Johnny. I'm down here in the sunshine once again, and I found a man who's been working his socks off all weekend to produce two fantastic pieces of art, Serge Gay Jr. Serge, firstly, thanks for taking the time to talk to us. Tell us what you've been up to this weekend. You've been working very hard.
Yeah, so I teamed up with Road and Track, and they got me painting from Friday, and we kind of doing 4 hours each day from Friday to today, and get these paintings done, raffle it out, and two lucky winners is going to get two beautiful paintings done by me, I guess. Good for them, and I enjoy doing it, but it's hot.
It's hot, and you've worked very, very hard. Produced some amazing pieces of art in the form of the GTO here and the GT40, two iconic cars that fit this event perfectly. Tell us a little bit about your history, with that car over there, and why you chose to perhaps do that one.
Well, I went to school in Detroit, CCS, which is known for a big design, transportation design in cars, and Ford is company I worked with before, and I also had two friends. One of them designed the last GTO, and then my other friend Camelo, who did the one previously, and he's an amazing painter. Yeah. So I kind of like a little bit of a tribute to them, but kind of go to the original one because I don't want to outshine them. No, they outshine me 5 times, 100 times. So yeah.
They're great pieces of art, and one thing that just blew my mind just now, you told me how long it took you to do each of these pieces. Just tell us the time involved in this one and this one.
So 4 hours, so it's pretty much like 2 hours each, so I've been going back and forth each day, so 4 hours a day, and I guess I'm a very quick painter, so this is nothing new to me.
You're a very quick painter, you're a very good painter, you're a very modest painter, sir. But it's not just painting you do, is it? Creative visual arts right across the board.
Yeah, definitely. I'm an all-around visual artist, and every medium, every content, and painting cars is another passion of mine. So,
and somebody's going to win both of these come the end of the weekend. People have been signing up. That's the deal that Road and Track have been doing.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
All right. Well, the draw is taking place a little bit later on, Serge. I know that you want to get out of the sun. You've been in it all weekend. But if people want to find out more about you, where should they go? Where should they connect with you?
Definitely go on my Instagram, which is my full name, @Serge Gay Jr., or contact Road and Track and check out the latest issue because I'm obsessed with it right now. Yeah.
There you go. Check out the latest issue of Road and Track. Serge Gay Jr., thanks ever so much for talking to us.
No problem.
A well-earned break for you, sir, but not for our Kiri, who's working hard down in Velocity Pit Lane.
Well, it is, of course, Velocity Lane that you join us in once again. These are the historic Trans Am cars, and this is Ken Epson. These cars are just absolute beasts, aren't they, Ken? Can you tell me a bit about the history of this car?
Oh, this is a great car. It was built in 1970 by Penske for Mark Donohue and Peter Revson. They finished second in the championship. 1971, gave the cars to Roy Woods. That was Vic Elford and George Fulmer drove with Roy Woods. And then to 72, George Fulmer and Roy Woods drove these cars and won the championship in 1972.
Well, it is a very special car. How did you come by being with this car? Was it something that you'd focused on for a few years? Was it something you'd fallen in love with?
You know, I was looking online in some one ad in 1988 and saw this car in Guadalajara, Mexico on a newspaper ad. Off chance I called, And they said, sure, we'll sell it. It's still for sale. So I bought the car, and the guy says, well, it'll take me 6 months to send you the car. I said, well, okay. So he said, wire some money to a bank in Tucson. So I did, and then a few months later I said, hey, how's my car doing? Oh, soon. So it was past their deadline. I thought the money's gone. They delivered the car. It's extra motors, extra wheels, all the original travel boxes, had all the good parts and pieces with it, lots of spares. It was actually very fortunate.
What a fantastic story. Enjoy it out there. I know you will. How they come by these.
Well, sorry, we've got a bit of intermittent problems there, but not to worry. Tony and Kiri doing a great job. Thanks, Kiri, and thanks, Tony, but we'll take it away and get ready for our historic Trans Am race. And they put on a show and a half last night. Let's hope they do it all again. Last night we had a great race. Ken Epsman and Fieber and Bruce Canepa involved. Jeffrey O'Neill will also be out there, hopefully, if they've got that car fettled again. They had problems. So he didn't get to run yesterday. But listen to the glorious sound of American muscle, folks, as we get ready to relive the glory days of Trans Am, which, no question about it, Laguna Seca was very much a part. My thanks to Ryan Lewis coming up and joining us. He'll head back to enjoy a little bit more fun with McLaren, and we're going to have some real fun. I've got an actual Trans Am driver here, and that is all that matters. Historic Trans Am. Adam, a lot of fun yesterday, and I think we're in for some more today.
Yeah, I love this. You know, actually, that was Ryan and I just talking on a side note there before he took off, was about driving these. He asked me if I'd ever driven one of these. I never had. I figure the way I see them out there is it reminds me of what a TA2 car feels like. I've never driven one, so I wouldn't know, but it just feels or looks that way. But yeah, these things just look like an absolute blast. But Ryan said they're absolutely just a gas to drive, and so everyone out here is going to have a great time. Not only that, we get to, when they hit the green flag here on the front straightaway at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, they set off a seismic boom that measures on the Richter scale here in California, and it'll make the news here at night. Now, obviously I'm teasing, but this is really a thunderous noise. It's one of the greatest things that we hear all day long here.
And for those that have never been to a motor race and they come to the first time and they see Trans Am, you know, that instant kind of, it's a bit like Formula One, it's that instant connection with that thunderous sound of ominous foreboding, isn't it? It's like, what is about to happen?
Exactly, yeah, exactly. I think that looked like Billy Johnson. Well, it's fun to see someone with a Ford racing uniform on in a Camaro. You wouldn't have seen that in the area, period, but that's fancy. Oh, there's Chip Fudge, our good buddy Chip Fudge there. Peace the old-fashioned way with the bomber. Love that. That's good stuff right there.
Bruce Canepa and Robert Canepa racing this particular group.
Yeah, Bruce was strong yesterday out there in that Javelin, I believe, is what he's in, if I'm not mistaken.
I know if there's people tuning in from New Zealand, and I know there are, they're going to be enjoying the heck out of this. They love their muscle cars. And they have a robust historic Trans Am series themselves.
Oh, they do, for sure. Yeah, no, it's very popular down there. I've been told many times that I could have a second career Trans Am driving down there.
I'm sure you
down
could.
under.
Come down in next summer. I'll be there.
Yeah, that'd be good fun.
In fact, there you go. I'll give you some commentary work to do.
There you go.
And you can do the Trans Am historic.
Good fun. Good fun.
Started behind the pace car, as ever, a full field of historic Trans Am cars. And yes, these are the very cars that raced in the late 60s and early 70s. And they continue today. And that's what makes it so special. Bill Ockerland also involved in this one. He was in a previous race. James Farley, again, the man from Ford, also racing. Now Matt, you mentioned John Fudge. Taylor Fudge is also out there.
Oh, yeah. Well, then which one's Chip?
I see what you did there. And Robert Canepa as well as Bruce.
Yes, yeah. Robert is in a Ford Boss 302, and Bruce would be in that 1970 AMC Javelin. One of 4 of those ever built.
Slight haze coming in from the coast. A little bit of mist out there, but or low cloud anyway in the valley. But absolute glorious sunshine here at Laguna for now.
This is always a big field, just like the modern day Trans Am. Always grabbing a nice field of cars here. I believe we're looking at like 26 entries in this class.
I love the fact that they're waving to the marshals too. It's a real sign of respect that they're being noticed, you know.
Absolutely.
Because there's no crowd at this part of the circuit anywhere, so they are purely racing to the flag marshals and our camera.
And the marshals' enthusiasm is infectious as well, because they've on more than one occasion actually greeted the drivers after the checkered flag and shown their appreciation, because they understand what's at stake here. These are priceless works of art.
Well, I hate to say many of the marshals have been here as long as the car. We're probably marshalling in the day.
Hey, they might have been.
I don't mean that rudely. I mean it with absolute love, because that's what they love to do.
Oh, they have a commitment, and they are the unsung heroes of our sport. They get the best seat in the house, I will say that. Like they sit in spots that you would fight to get into, but they do that out of sacrifice as well, and they put their lives on the line, quite literally, for what we get to do out here. So our gratitude to them, they should know our appreciation wholeheartedly. As we grid them up in turn 11, Jonathan, they're coming down. This is Group 9. We love the 1966 and 1972 historic Trans Am cars, don't we, my friend?
Oh, we absolutely do. And here we go. Trans Am at its finest, the golden age, I think, is here right now, but this was the original. Back in the late 60s, early 70s. Race on Sunday, buy on Monday. And so it came to be. Here we go, folks. Enjoy.
It's shaking the water in the water bottles as they go by.
The water bottles in our booth are literally shaking. I love it.
This is rather exciting stuff. So as they get down to the turn, the Andretti hairpin here, they're 3 wide in some cases, trying to make the arc there. It looks like Bruce Canepa might have got out to an early lead.
Yeah, Bruce in the 1970 AMC Javelin. Bruce, of course, a Californian. And pretty famous in these historic
For sure. Yeah, no, Bruce is absolutely, he is a household name within this paddock. Everyone here knows Bruce Canepa. He's a mainstay. Many, many wonderful classic vehicles like that AMC Javelin is that he puts out here on display and puts them through the ringer out there racing. We've seen him poke noses in more than one peculiar area. And same with him. Like he's been here so long and racing vintage stuff with this paddock for so long that they love to race against each other too, him and his competition, like a Ken Epson and a Joshua Felber, and Billy Johnson is out there, right? I thought we saw Billy Johnson inside that Camaro.
And guys, just
or Ford Mustang.
Just squint your eyes for a second, put yourself in black and white, and imagine being, well, you don't need to be in black and white, but just imagine yourself in the early 70s, where life was a little different, a little bit more freer, a little bit more fun perhaps, but definitely a fantastic era for motor racing in America, a real highlight.
What's so fun is that's the same shot that we saw of the era, right?
Yeah.
Like if you lived in the era and you were here live, that's what you saw.
Yeah.
There was no black and white in real life. You got to see exactly what we're getting to enjoy here today, folks.
Tom McIntyre, James McGovern in the Boss 302, and Kem Epsman in the Javelin. 6 follows 2. 2 follows 6. Oh, come on, put some metal down. Just put the foot straight down there in the 16. I love it. That's James McGovern in that Ford Mustang Boss 302.
Yeah, he's making it happen back there, isn't he?
Great stuff. Field starting to spread out now through 3. Now, you drive a current day Trans Am Mustang. Is it still the car as it was back then? Because and when I say it was the car, because the pony wars were never complete, were they? Because Javelin had their day, Chevrolet always were in competition, the Mustangs always there, but how is it today? Is it just as competitive?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, just as competitive. Now, the manufacturer involvement's not there. We don't have, we have not raised that kind of interest, and it's going to be hard nowadays unless, I truly think, unless you're doing something electrifying your racing series in any way, shape, or form, whether it be fully or with a hybrid system, it's hard to grab some manufacturer support with money, and I think that's why we're seeing even NASCAR talk about hybrid, is to keep the manufacturer money there. But yeah, we got a great race here. Great battle coming out of turn 12, up the front straightaway.
Go on. Jim Haig doing a heck of a job in that number 16 1970 Boss 302.
Yeah, that's
taking on Canepa.
Quite special there for sure.
Yeah, at the end of 1970, in preparation for 1971, Carcraft provided 4 additional cars, and the bodies were in white, and Bud Moore then took those cars, painting them up, and identified as 1 to 1971 through 4 to 1971. Once in the possession of Bud Moore, these last cars were christened BME.
It's a battle for 8th here. Richard Goldsmith and Daniel Goldsmith. I'm imagining those are relatives right here going back and forth. 2 very different cars though, right? They've got a Chevrolet Camaro up against a Dodge Challenger.
And there is Daniel Goldsmith in the 92. Yeah, it's great. This season we've had the Challenger making its way back in the hands of Boris Said. And it's good to see the Dodge getting amongst it again with the Camaros and the Mustangs, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've driven the same.
I forgot.
Yeah, I've driven that same. We had success in that car and won in 2019 at COTA, and yeah, the Dodge is still proven to be a serious powerhouse within the Trans Am paddock, and it's just so competitive. I mean, it really is. It's much different than back then. You know, there's every car. All of our cars are tube frame cars, no manufacturer support. The bodies are built from a third-party construction or manufacturer, 5-car builds the bodies. Where these were all, these were factory cars.
Yeah, these were production cars.
Yeah, you bought these from the factory and you did them yourself, or you bought a factory-ready car. Not looking good there in the Camaro.
Yeah, and holding true to that tradition, we continue it still with production entries in Trans Am. So we have 5 categories: Trans Am, TA, TA2, and then XGT, SGT, and GT. That's currently. So keeping to the tradition of keeping the production part to it. By the way, Adam Andretti, one of the, I think, the only men to have won in all 3 major marks.
We've won all 3 marks, yeah, and we've won the Ford and the Chevy and the Dodge. And
which was the most fun?
Yeah, well, they're all fun. They're all fun. I guess when you're...
All right, which is the hardest?
When you win in a Dodge in the backyard up in Detroit, that was pretty special.
I'll bet. Yes, actually that is special.
There's the Ford Falcon that we love so much.
Yep.
Great to see that. Mike Eddy getting the wheels off of that thing. It's got a checkered pattern there, too, to keep the headlights in. We got to love that.
I like it. Nice style.
Love that Ford Falcon. That's one of my absolute favorites.
Yeah, originally a 1963 model, was bodied up to a 1964 to race at a lighter homologated weight. First, a sedan in SoCal region in SCCTA, and the sedan history race Riverside Trans Am to score points for Ford and win the TA Championship in 1966.
And that was not a thunderstorm that came through here just now at Laguna. That was actually the top 5 you could throw a blanket over right now. They are having a heck of a race in the top 5.
Great stuff. car. Love the colors on this.
Yeah, that's a great livery. We dig that. That's the number 7 there. That's gonna be Tony Hart.
Tony Hart, yeah.
He's running P16 right now, respectively.
1967, C28.
I tell you, we catch that top 5 again. They are right on top of each other. The top 5 was within a half of a second the last time they crossed the line. That was really exciting stuff. First and second crossed the line less than a tenth. We got the number 6 here, Camaro. This is a beautiful shot right here. Got Tom McIntyre, P16. Doing a dandy job. I believe that was a famous car from Mark Donahue days, possibly.
Yep. Ha! Wow, this is a heck of a race.
It is a phenomenal show up front here.
Just crossed the line again in front of us. Well, here it is, coming into Andretti. Look at this. Battle for first place. 5-way, 6-way battle.
Bruce Canepa locking the rear brace, getting that thing rotated, hitting the second apex. Power slide out of McIntyre.
Into 3. Nail-biting stuff.
Oh, sorry, James McGovern. That was a big power slide out of the 16 to James McGovern.
Yeah, the problem with a race like this, you've got 3 18s, 4 6s, and 3 16s, number-wise.
It's unbelievable.
But we know that this man, Bruce Canepa, is leading the way in that AMC jab.
I mean, he immediately went to cross-correct, to oversteer, opposite lock. What a beautiful, beautiful job. As we like to say, opposite lock, butterflies open.
Exactly.
It's getting a little more tame up front, a little more single file than what we've had over the last couple laps. But wow, what a great, great race there at the front with should be winding down on our time left here in the session, in the race.
So into 11.
Very
Lovely
defensive.
Shot. Yeah, and a nice shot to see the line through 11 from the drone.
Very defensive.
Look at this, side by side into 12. And now past our position, a drag race towards Andretti. Side by side racing. Who says this is vintage racing? It's certainly not an exhibition. This is great.
Oh, that's entertaining.
See God and back off, as Kevin Schwantz once said.
Ken Epsman is not leaving anything left on that table. That was an outside pass, not only out of 12, but outside of turn 1, outside of the Andretti hairpin, pulls it off, and stretches out to a little bit of a lead.
Well, the 5-way battle is now becoming 6.
I mean, I feel like we're calling a modern-day Trans Am race.
It's exactly like a modern-day Trans Am race. I feel like Rafa and yourself are out there. Billy Johnson, fastest lap, 1:43.2.
Yeah, he was going to come through the field here. Great driver there. He's got to save his blushes, right? Oh, absolutely. You certainly can't let a javelin win this thing.
No, absolutely not.
He's got to go hunt.
Get that blue oval going.
Looks like almost making it 3 wide up here towards the corkscrew. Going to hang tight in P4. Probably going to take his opportunity down there, maybe turn 10 and 11. Seems like James McGovern is sliding around, slipping, sliding around quite a bit right here. He might get this run right through here as we watch him get through turn 10. That's the blue car there in the middle of the picture.
And our man Ron got the best seat in the house as he brings them into focus here on the main straight. It's hard to keep up with all the battles, and he's doing the best he can. 2 leaders going through, and then this great battle for 3rd place into Andretti.
Ooh, big lockup there by, it looks like, might have been
through
chip
2. And now into the side of the circuit, side by side again through 3, but through, just sneaking through goes the number 2, but it's not over, this little battle.
And we have some traffic just up ahead. That's going to definitely play a role in what goes on between these racers. As we see, this is the traffic that they're going to catch. And not much of a gap between them, and this is going to get really nice and hairy coming up. But I'm going to tell you right now, the two people having the most fun here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, besides you and I calling this action, is Bruce Canepa and Ken Epson.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, you know that this race has got everybody's attention.
And look who showed up. Billy Johnson is showing up to the party, tucked himself inside. I think discretion was a better part of valor. He backed off right at the top of the hill there and went ahead and let that battle transpire in front of him with the javelins. But this is going to be one heck of a run to the checkered, as I believe they're going to get the white flag when they come around this time around.
Yeah, could well be, yeah. Yep, just looking into the start-finish line. Just see out of our window. Here we go then. What a race. We had a good one yesterday, but this is just as good, and it ain't over yet.
Traffic is definitely, the white flag is out. Traffic playing a little bit of a role here. Billy Johnson, did Billy Johnson grab the lead? He certainly seems like he's right. Nope, P2 though, right behind. He's going on the chase with Bruce Canepa. Now we know how difficult Bruce can be to pass. This is going to be a run to the finish. This is going to be exciting, folks.
Really good stuff. Billy Johnson then hitting the front. Or
look at Billy.
Second place anyway.
Nice done. What a beautiful slide. Didn't lose any time. Kept all his forward momentum on the throttle, getting through turn 4. Accelerate up to turn 3. Accelerate to turn 4. What do you think, Jonathan? Is Billy going to pull this off? He's got a little bit of a gap to make up there.
Well, I've been listening to you all day, and I think what he's got to do is wind himself up for a good run up the Rahal straight. Through goes the number 6, but then, get up that Rahal straight, maybe make a dive bomb at the top of the hill at the corkscrew, and if not there, then he's going to have to get a great run out of the corkscrew and have a go down at turn 10, possibly 12.
Yeah, Bruce is not making it easy. Bruce is really putting together a lap right here. He's not taking anything to chance, because I know what kind of quality, too, that Billy Johnson is, and I know he's laying it all on the line. You can see it with the car movement, but that Bruce Canepa, I believe he's got this one in the bag.
He has, as we can see it. If I've watched enough races at Laguna, if you get through 11, it's very hard unless you're right on the tail to do it at 12, and here comes Bruce to finish off another cracking historic Trans Am race. Billy Johnson goes wide, may lose out that second place, but here they come. Drag race for the finish, but it's going to be Billy, I think. Yes, just sneaking through into second place ahead of the number 2 of Ken Epson. Nice racing, gentlemen.
What a race.
Yeah.
What a race.
Excellent stuff.
What a great good time.
Well done, Bruce, in the 1970 AMC Javelin. So as you can see, we are on the slowdown lap for the historic Trans Am, a wonderful, wonderful sight at the perfect venue, no doubt about it, Laguna Seca. And while we've got a chance to take our breath, let's remember the Laguna Seca Foundation, a very important cause. We had Ross Merrill up here yesterday telling us about it. It's an important part of Laguna Seca, and it's what effectively keeps them going. Adam, wouldn't you not agree?
yeah, it's phenomenal to see that. And these are locals. These are people in the community. As you mentioned, Ross Merrill, and I race with his son Thomas in the Trans Am Series. They're a great racing family. Thomas grew up at this track, so I mean, there's a lot of sentimental value, and they understand the history that they have here. I grew up in Indianapolis. You know, we have the history of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway that's so well preserved. So it's wonderful to see a group here that is so passionate and taking action, wanting to make this the ultimate premier facility.
Now, while we've got a little break in the action, I think it would be nice to have a look back at some of the action from Friday's Mini versus Mustang. And I have to say, if you haven't seen this already, it was held in dusk to dark with headlights blaring out for all to see, as it was David and Goliath, quite literally, as the Minis took on the Mustangs. So here we go, the pace car is off and we are racing at night for the first time in Historics at Laguna Seca. And this is truly a first for Laguna. No floodlights, just the headlights of the cars. So forgive us if we get the wrong call occasionally on the cars, but it doesn't matter. It's a fantastic spectacle. I can see one of the Mustangs already going high and wide to the outside, but it's a three-way run to Andretti by the Minis. Now all they do need to cause a fourth there and hold back all the Mustangs for as long as they can.
Absolutely, and this is exactly what Mini Coopers love, is just getting into the corner. So this is the part of the section here where they're going to work their gap on the big high horsepower Mustangs before they have to climb the hill getting up to the corkscrew.
Yeah, as you can see, that the Mustang in fourth place can do nothing about those Minis as we go through 3 and 4 for the first time. A beautiful sight. We've got 20 or so Minis and about just under 10 Mustangs, I think, and yeah, we've got an array of different Shelby GT350s. We've got obviously another GT. There's a Ford Falcon out there, the black one. That's Fudge at the wheel, one of the historic drivers for many a year here in the United States here as they head up the Rahal Straight for the first time, and the Mini still leading at the moment.
That was an incredible sight, guys, just sitting here in the commentary position, just watching them go down the straight from our right to left as we're looking at it. What a sight on the opening lap, just incredible.
Now, let me just also explain, there is a pit stop in this race. It's an hour-long enduro race with a driver change. So that could add a little bit of spice to it all as we go through. As you can see, those Minis absolutely relishing the prospect. Side by side, why not?
Yeah, that's some good stuff there. Now, those Minis, definitely the corkscrew was built for a Mini Cooper, as you can see right there. They just, like you said, point and shoot, going down there full throttle, and they're pulling quite a gap on the big V8 there, the Mustang that's actually in third place. I believe that's Dwight Matheson in the number 5, 66 Mustang, but these top 3 here are really going at it hard.
Well, we had a look at the inside of some of the engines. They may only be 1,200, 1,300 cc's, but I tell you what, there's been some fettling done under the bonnet, as we would say.
There has been a lot of fettling going on at the bonnet of some of these, and incredible scenes. I mean, some of them, to be fair, are Minis in body panels alone. Some of the engines and some of the sway bars you were looking at on that blue one. I forget who owned that one, Adam, but a lot of aftermarket work got into that.
Yeah, the only thing that was Mini about that was the body panels, yeah. and I don't even know if they were Mini, but it was. Right now, Andrew Nelson and Nick Swift, that driver combination was winning this race after the first lap. You got Dennis Racine, the team group of Dennis Racine and Dylan Wittenauer are in second. And then Harinda Da Silva and Timothy Da Silva are going to be third. The first of the Mustangs is going to be Gilbert Hakem. He's in a 1966 Shelby GT350. So really, really good racing right off the bat. And side-by-side racing here with these two orange ones.
Yeah, and just, you started going into this, but talk a little bit about driving a muscle car around Laguna and what it takes and where the advantage or disadvantages are.
Yeah, I mean, like, I honestly thought the huge advantage was going to be coming up the hill, go to the corkscrew, but after the first lap, it looked like the Minis opened a gap coming up the hill. So I don't know where they're disadvantaged, honestly. Like you said, a lot of these have had quite a bit of work done underneath, so the weight-to-power ratio might be pretty similar between the Mini Cooper and these Mustangs of yours. So this is that might be what we're seeing here. But, you know, who also knows the much bigger car, you know, depends on tire wear too. You know, if you're hustling a Mini Cooper around and you melt the tires off, I know one of the things we were catching out there is there was at least 4 different tire manufacturers we saw, right?
Yeah.
There was, you had Hoosier Tire, you had American Racer or McCreary, you had Yokohama, and then you had this other brand I never actually heard of, and so it might just been a specialty tractor tire that they found here at a Tractor Supply warehouse or something.
The Hoosier looked like the one to be on if you were in a Mini.
It did. It really did. And even down there, you're talking to them, they seemed to, some of the competitors felt like if they were on the McCreary tire, you really had to be careful with it through a couple of heat cycles for it to last. Where the Hoosier, you could kind of just abuse it right from moment one.
I'm keeping an eye on the number 6 of Matt Johnson and Ryan Turry for 2 reasons. Matt Johnson used to do commentary with me at the X Games. He's in 9th position at the moment. And Ryan Turry is actually one of the organisers of the event. And I asked him this morning, I said, you're not really going to race. You haven't got time to do that. And he goes, I'm going to try. So if he does get in the car, I'll be well impressed. So Ryan,
nice.
do your best. He said if I don't get in tonight's race, I'll try on Sunday when hopefully things have settled down by then. But it's never easy being an organizer. That said, Jeff O'Neill will be doing several races this weekend in several different cars, as he always does at these historic events. And I remember from Sonoma 2 years ago, he kept popping up on almost every group. But that's Jeff's won't. Ryan, I think, will be less. He's more hands-on with the actual running of the event, so I think he's got less time to be a Jeff.
Right. That sounds about right. And also, there's in 10th place, you have Joe Huffaker in that Austin Cooper S. And there's a fun story about Joe that you were talking about earlier, John.
Well, yeah, I didn't know this, but the Huffacres, I mean, everybody who is involved in historic racing here on the West Coast knows the Huffaker name. They've been synonymous with engineering and fettling cars for racing in the States since the 50s. And all the Huffacres, the Huffaker Genie, you'll see probably a Mark IV out there. But Joe Huffaker actually used to race minis and has got 7 titles to his name racing minis here in the States. So he is out there again. And so, yes, the Huffaker name continues with Joe and Chris Kearney, and a good story too. So he's going back to his old haunt, effectively, by racing the Mini. Good story, you're right. Now we're starting to feel as though we're at Le Mans or Daytona. But first time ever at Laguna, they've run in the dark.
That's really neat. I mean, you don't hear about any endurance races at night at Laguna. They're strict here, right? Engines have to be off at 6 o'clock. So only can you take advantage of falling back with daylight savings time would you be able to get a nighttime race or any kind of nighttime running here at Laguna Seca, WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca.
One on the Minis pulling offline there, slightly slowing. I don't know if he's just getting out of the way. But some more bright lights on that orange. I think it's orange.
I think that's so they could tell them apart at night, the team that runs those 2 cars.
Well, and I'm sure Kev would agree with me. We grew up watching these cars. We didn't know anything about muscle cars growing up, but we knew about Minis.
Yeah.
And we saw what Paddy Hopkirk did. And in fact, in 1964, Mini won the Monaco rally and had, certainly in the hands of Paddy Hopkirk, a huge era of success in what was never designed to be a rally car.
Not at all, and never designed to be running around Laguna Seca
No.
up against Mustangs. And I like what's written here in the kind of souvenir program. It says, while indeed Mini Cooper did win the Monte Carlo Rally in 1964, as you just said, all bets are off as to who will win this modern version of this historic rivalry. And I think all bets are off because the Minis are holding their own and they look great out there.
Well, first driver's getting out. I know you're looking from above Laguna Seca, but we just happen to have a fantastic view of the pits here because they're right in front of us. So we're just giving you that story because it is a good one. He came in, did the 37, the 1963 Austin Mini. Came in and had a intermittent light problem and came into the pits with no lights on at all. Now they're doing their driver change, and I think they hope they've got it going again, because it would be very hard to drive one of these cars with no lights on. Well, there you see the pit lane, and there are our pit stops. It's not a rushed affair, as you can see.
I believe, I would guess, and I haven't looked at the rules, but I imagine there's a minimum amount of time that you have to spend in the pits. I would guess that'd be a 5-minute stop. So that would be... but they did put some makeshift lights, I saw.
Yeah.
Like you can see here on pit road, they have these stanchions up. And even around the racetrack, right past the bridge here in turn 1 on the front straightaway here, we got a set of lights that are up on the outside there. So that you know where the apex is, I guess, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it gives us enough light.
And I think that's a great scene looking down pit lane like there. That's away to our right as we sit here in the commentary. And a lot of excitement, a lot of hustle. Like they're taking their time, but if you're one of these guys that owns one of those cars, that's quite something to be here at Laguna Seca in the dark, doing that at night. A lot of excitement down there for those guys. I can't believe we can
just get the last bits of the sun remnants and then actually see the bay and the sea out there. And that's a lovely shot. Beautiful. I see. Yes, no, I concur now. The 1966 Shelby GT 350, definitely leading.
Yeah, Chris Hines, the number 26.
And then Dennis Racine, not far behind in that Mini Cooper S, who had been in third, now up to second. And Nelson and Swift lost 2 places down to third now. So yes, I mean, it's typically British, this. It's impolite when you're visiting a country.
You can't just
not allow the other team to lead a little bit.
Nick Swift is an Englishman, and I know that because of the Union Jack on the car. Mini's been in the US for a long, long time. But yeah, he's just doing the right thing. He's just being polite. He's
getting very thick in here, ladies and gentlemen. Very thick.
He's just being a gentleman
inside this booth.
He's just being a gentleman.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I get it. Absolutely.
I say, sir, after you.
I say.
Do carry on.
I say, this is your track.
I hear your muscle cars need lots of air. Go ahead.
I think it comes down to just our headlight technology is far superior.
That's probably it.
Hey, listeners, we've got this shot on screen here. I'm just saying again, some of these Mini drivers are really going for it.
Oh,
they are clipping the inside of that curb down there.
Yeah.
They are nicking the racing line and then some. This is really good stuff.
But yeah, this is a great race going on
and
here.
by the way, these 3 Minis are in a cracking race.
They're having a battle of all of their
own.
That
was some late braking.
As someone makes a move up the inside late on braking. Look at that.
Very good. Out of turn 11 they come onto the main straight. 3 Minis wide, 2 side by side and 1 behind. And let's take a look at the top speed as they come underneath there. Oh, just missed it.
93.
95 miles an hour. Nice.
And here we go. He's going to take the long way around the outside. This is super stuff.
Excellent stuff. In the middle of that is the 61. That is
61 and 62.
Racine, yeah, Richard Patterson. I think it will be Patterson at the wheel now. They're currently in 16th place, but enjoying the heck out of it, clearly.
Yeah, they're absolutely having a ball out there, that's for sure. Tossing those things around.
So this is how we kick off Velocity Invitational for 2021, and I think it's a remarkable way to do it. A lot of fun. It shows the essence, actually, of Jeff O'Neill and Ryan Turi's vision for this event, which is very laid back, very fun, but some very serious history and cars here with some very serious historic and current drivers at the wheel of all of these cars. You can't be a fool to be out there, for sure.
No, I can't imagine any better way to kick off our weekend than what we're doing right now. And with all the hype over the last couple of years and the movie, the blockbuster movie of Ford versus Ferrari, no one's expecting Ford versus Mini. So this is,
Yes.
this is definitely,
This is a movie, surely.
Yeah, they're showing a nice quorkness to...
The Monterey job.
Yeah, the Monterey
Not the Italian job,
Yeah.
the Monterey job.
But just absolutely brilliant in that aspect of kicking off the
I
weekend.
know what we could call it. Laguna or bust. We'll take our bloody Minis and we'll take on the bloody Mustangs at Laguna. That's a silly idea, Michael.
And Johnny, we've got a Mustang leading, Johnny, by the way.
It's a one-eyed Shelby.
The one-eyed Shelby. Who is it out front?
It's actually John Lindfest and Chris Hines. Probably Chris Hines, having done the pit stop, should be at the wheel.
Yeah.
And he's got a healthy lead, but it's interesting. Both the cars leading the race. The Shelby is a 1966, and the Morris Mini Cooper S is a 1966. Dennis Racine and Dylan Whitmire at the wheel. And then behind them in third place, a 1962 Austin Mini Cooper, and that is the De Silva brothers, I'm guessing, Timothy and Harindra.
That's the white one. That's number 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which you said at the start was going to be one to watch. And then you're out Andrew Nelson and Nick Swift. In them, Cooper S from 1963. Dwight Matheson and Christopher M, as he is known, in the 66 Ford Shelby. Just behind him in fifth place. And Andrew Waite and Martin Lauber in the Austin Mini Cooper from 65 in sixth place. Greg Wohl in seventh. Dave Morgan at the wheel now. Like I said, 2 to a drive. Matt Johnson, who I mentioned before, with Ryan Turi in 8th position. Ryan should be at the wheel if he has chosen to deciding to take part. And in fact, they just did their quickest lap in 8th place. And then John Shearer and Brian Ferrin in 9th. Michael Levin and Seth Huntley. That rounds out the top 10 with the Austin Mini Cooper from 66. Most of these mid-66s, these minis, and again, similar for the Mustangs.
What's awesome about this too is just they can lay it on the line the entire time they're out there for this hour, and they get to share it with the driver. That always kind of adds to the specialness to it. Having someone out there that you can, bounce the things back and forth off of. Did you feel this, or was it doing that to you? Did you have that experience or whatnot? So this is also a lot of fun from that aspect, to get to race in these kind of races and get to feel it out that way.
So we are watching night racing from Laguna Seca, and very much a first, an enduro between Mini from Great Britain and Mustang from the US of A. And a wonderful sight it's been into the night. They'll race during the day on Sunday, so a couple of days to both talk about the event and get settled and ready for the next one. And I think there may be a few adjustments once they see the results and once they get amongst it. But it looks as though Goliath is going to get his way against David tonight.
I think, if the attrition stays the way we're looking, it looks like it's going to be that way. But I'll say lap times, the Mini Cooper turned the fastest lap of the race. So, the Mini Cooper is a faster overall lap around WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca tonight. But there is, you have to be consistent. And the consistency, I believe, has fallen into that Mustang right into their lap. So having a very consistent run here towards the end of this event. Maybe the cooler temperatures, too, as the sun absolutely went down, probably helped the big, heavy Mustang out there doing his job as well. But if I was finishing second, I would protest that the Mustang had a headlight out. That would just be me.
I definitely.
Dangerous racing.
Any advantage you can get.
We're all proud of that.
Spoken like a true racing driver. Headlight out, against the rules, out.
You got to find it. You got to find every little edge.
I would be all about the headlights. If I was driving one of these Minis, I want one with 4 headlamps on the bonnet.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I'd go full on rally. Yeah. I'd go Paddy Hopkirk on this and get lights everywhere.
Just a light bar across the top.
Absolutely.
Right on there.
Flashing lights. But you're right, Nick Swift.
Ooh, some sparks coming down. That's awesome.
Yeah, just
dragging the front bumper, it looked like, coming down the corkscrew. I think that was the Falcon, which would be Fudge inside the Falcon. I just like that, driver named Fudge.
Is that all we got? Is that all we got?
That's all I got is Fudge.
Wow.
Not to put a fine point on it, and not that I'm a poor loser, but I will add that the 3 fastest times on track were Minis.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go into that.
What sort of times are we getting around here?
1:47.6 by Nick Swift and Andrew Nelson, currently in 4th position, the fastest man out there. The leaders, 1:50.3 is their fastest time. And then everybody else is pretty close.
Well, Mike Bakayoko in the Mustang did a 1:48.8.
Yeah, but he's at 13.
Well, still a lap time. We're just going on lap times.
There's a great battle that we're seeing on screen here at the moment.
Would you like another straw to clasp at, Andrew? Adam? Might we call you Andrew as well?
No.
Okay. I think have you got any straws you could give Adam?
He's reaching for him, isn't he? He is reaching for him there.
Hey, we go reach for whatever we can get. Gotta grab a hold whatever we can get.
The field is stacked though in our favour, Johnny, as we're seeing here. There's about 15 maybe Mini Coopers out there, and half a dozen Mustangs, something like that. We got more balls in the draw.
If we can block them on the streets of Monterey tonight, I know who'd win.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The Minis absolutely would hit that wharf with aplomb.
Yeah.
Well, just over 5 minutes left in this race. I don't think that 13second gap was going anywhere.
That's going nowhere. That's going nowhere.
I could be wrong.
I mean, that is the gap. We just seen the gap as the
right
lead
here,
Mustang goes down through the corkscrew there. And then our LED.
Whoa!
That is what we're talking about.
Rally 64 going on there.
I love that. I love the Falcon
the
dragging the front. That's just beautiful through there.
But what we just saw there with that Mini is an example of just how blind it is going into the corkscrew. If you get it wrong, you are off.
And you don't have to get it wrong by much.
No.
I mean, it's a few feet will throw you right off the front of it. So, yeah, you don't have to get it wrong by but a little bit. Some of these guys are right on the limit as it is. And, now it's later in the night. You're tired. Tires are worn out. You're low on fuel. I mean, all these aspects are coming into it, too. So, shocks when they, what a lot of people don't take into account is the suspension. Shocks when they get hot, right? The fluids inside will get thinner. The shocks aren't going to work as well. So you lose that support. So there's so much that goes on to any car over a course of an hour-long race that some of you are just not prepared for.
Yeah, and as we were talking to Graham Reed about the fact that these cars weren't designed, these 1300 engines are being pushed to their very limit right now,
and they're
8,000 plus RPM, and you're really putting them through their paces, whereas the Mustangs were designed to be just for this kind of thing.
Oh yeah, no, they were designed to be mean from the start, right? I mean, it's designed to get the blood boiling from the start. And as we've said many times, the Mini Cooper is meant just that, to get you to and from point A, point B, and just that. And it took the creativity of some crazy, British entrepreneurs, if you will, to go ahead and turn them into the racing machines that they became.
Yeah.
Well, I can confirm that it is 26, Chris Hines, followed by 177, Dennis Racine in second place. So it's been first, second, and third goes to the... So really, in a numbers game, the podium is absolutely dominated by the British mark.
Which I think is, fitting, as we are dominating the commentary on this first outing of the season.
Do you think there'll be perhaps a telegram from the Queen?
One would expect that to be the case, Jonathan.
Oh, she's here.
Should get it.
She was here just for this.
In at least the Christmas speech, at least.
I believe she was here just for this.
So one light on his wagon. And the white flag is out.
Yeah.
That you'd never know.
No. That's the only flag you can't see here tonight, is the white flag. Makes sense why that's a surrender flag. All of a sudden you can see it at all. No matter what, you can see that white flag.
So it's the one headlight of the 1966 Shelby GT of John Lindfest and Chris Hines leading the way by almost 13 seconds now. But it's been a great display and a great race to watch, both from day to night.
Yeah, it really has, John. I tell you what, some of these mini drivers have had a lot of fun, but at the end of 50 minutes of this, they're going to be quite pleased to get out of the car and take their foot off the gas. And I think the little engines of some of these minis will be pleased with the breather.
There's one that looks like it just let go there. Maybe,
on the left, we got one off
the
there.
Rahal straight.
Yeah.
I'll say this: if Carroll Shelby would have come back tonight and take a look at this, there would be a wry smile on his face to see what we've put together.
Yeah, I think he would have liked to seen a Mini Cooper with a V8 in it, though. I think
that would have been his first thing.
Would have been more about his style.
How big an engine can we put in that
What
thing?
can we shove in that?
Yeah.
As we get through the corkscrew with our leader there, as they're coming through, navigating the last part of the track and getting back to playing the victory, the first victory of the weekend.
So, who we ended up with in second place, Johnny? Who are we looking at there in that mini?
Dennis Racine and Dylan Wittenauer. And like I said, Dennis, one of the guys that is basically the driving force behind a lot of the minis. And here they come. Here comes your winner. One headlight, you can't miss him. It's quite distinctive in its own way. Taking the checkered flag and winning. And actually getting his fastest lap on that last lap. A 150.1. A good lap time from Chris Hines in that 1966 Shelby GT350, and a great race also from Dennis Racine coming across the line now in the Morris Mini Cooper S from 1966. Some 13 seconds adrift, but all the same, very, very impressive. And Hindra De Silva and Timothy De Silva coming across in third place. So first set, I'd say, to Great Britain, wouldn't you?
Yeah, fantastic result for the Brits here on the US soil, Johnny. And,
how do you figure? I mean, we won.
Well, no, like 2-1.
There's only one winner.
Domination of the podium.
Domination.
Domination of the podium is by the winner.
66 to 33%.
On the tallest part of the podium is the winner.
There's the official score. We'll argue long into the night. We'll head down to Monterey, as will everybody else, and have a similar discussion.
Welcome back to the Velocity Invitational, where I have found somebody who is a lifelong car guy and is responsible for bringing perhaps one of the most unique and priceless cars that the whole show has seen. And right on cue, Bruce McCall, we're about to have a chat, and we're at a car show, and somebody's revving an engine just across the way over there. You couldn't make it up. But Bruce, thank you for taking the time to talk to us. You've brought along a car here, a Mercedes 300 SLR, that perhaps is one of the most unique cars here. Tell us a little bit about this one.
I think the SLR may be the greatest car of all time. It's, to many people it is. It was the peak of technology in 1955. And when I look at the car today, it's just, I'm marveled about how advanced this car was and the effort that was put in to building an extraordinary car. The body is all magnesium. It's extremely light. It's an 8-cylinder direct port desmodromic valve engine. Yeah. The sounds are unbelievable that it makes. It has big inboard drum brakes that are just next to the radiator inside the car. It's like nothing you've ever seen before.
And the history of this car is really unique, because obviously in 1955, Sterling Moss and Dennis Jenkins did an amazing thing in the Mille Miglia, but it was in a car that looked just like this, but this one's actually never been driven in that way.
Well, this car was never raced, but it was their practice car. It was driven at every event in 1955, and it was driven by every driver in the Mercedes team. It just wasn't raced. It was always kept as a spare, and it's a practice car so they could keep the race cars fresh. But the history is extraordinary, because some of the other cars weren't raced all the time. This car has been driven by everybody, everywhere, and it's a magnificent history.
Listen, Bruce, we're going to wrap this up because we're in the sunshine. I'm aware that we're both sitting here sweating right now. I'm going to stay around and have a bit more of a chat to you, but thank you ever so much for talking about this fantastic car, and thank you for bringing it along.
Well, thank you. This is an incredible event. I thought this would be a great place to bring this car. It's so special. We don't take it out very often, but it's special to be here, and I'm so pleased people are so thrilled to see it.
Bruce, thanks ever so much. How about that? Perhaps the most special car on the entire event site. Kiri, back to you in Velocity Pit Lane.
Well, this is a very noisy and incredibly amazing Velocity Lane. All right, well, we're looking at Bruce Canepa at the moment in this glorious red Porsche Le Mans car. Now, we've got some big names driving out in this Porsche demonstration lap. So Billy Johnson in the white car behind. Stefan Johansson is buckling up in the blue car too. And then Chris McAllister will be at the back in the final of the blue Porsche 21 Le Mans car. These are absolutely glorious in sight and sound. Such a treat to be able to see these cars on Velocity Lane. And they are getting ready to head out onto Laguna Seca. So I will let you just for a moment take in the atmosphere of these incredible cars. The sound alone down here is just absolutely spectacular. So you are looking at the Le Mans cars, the Porsche Exhibition 917 cars.
So here we have it, the Porsche 917 exhibition laps from Velocity Invitational. For me personally, to see those two Golf Blue car 917s in the hands of two very, very capable men is absolutely great. I've got a great story for you. So a guy comes to this race, okay, and he's just a simple artist. And he's here to show off his wares. He also says, sells the odd watch. And he's an ever nice fella, very underspoken. He's from Sweden, and he was going about his business, enjoying his day, and somebody said, would you like to drive a 917 Porsche? And he said, you know what, I would.
What's this guy's name?
Stefan Johansson.
Stefan Johansson.
Yes.
As A.J. Foyt used to call him, Steve Johnson.
Steve Johnson, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he would. If he raced in NASCAR, he would be. He can't be...
No, it's so funny. It's funny, I tucked my head in to the 917 to talk to him, and I was like, it's so cool to see you driving this thing around here. And he goes, oh, well, I'm just going to take it easy. And
yeah, right.
And I go, yeah, I know, but, I know being a driver, you're going to get out there and it's going to change. He goes, I'm over that part of my life.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Well, like I said, he's a simple artist. Turns out, as he gets in the car, he's actually done Le Mans 18 times and won it in 1997, as well as the 12 hours of Daytona the same year in a Ferrari.
Really?
Yes.
You don't say.
Not a lot of people know that.
You don't say.
I do say. He told me himself.
Himself?
He did.
That's impressive.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, that must have happened at a campfire one night out at his home.
Absolutely. We hang out a lot. And then there's a couple of Eagles.
Oh, yes. This is, and I believe Gunnar Jeanette is behind the wheel of one of those. I'm not 100% certain on the other one. Maybe it's Pat O'Ward. It looked like a pretty colorful helmet.
Joking aside, we went down to the exhibition where they're holding these cars, and we saw Stefan, and I bet he's delighted. I don't think he expected to be in this car, to be honest. I'm really serious.
Well, he had all his kit with him.
Yeah, okay.
But then again, drivers don't leave home without it. That's like the
true.
American Express card.
Yeah, exactly. So, also Billy Johnson's out there.
Yes,
Bruce
sir.
Canepa's out there.
Yes, sir.
Fairly handy himself in a sports car. Who else?
Well, I might be mistaken, but I believe a lot of these cars are out of the Canepa collection.
Okay, that makes sense then, yeah. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And to run these cars that ran in the mid-60s and early 70s, fantastic.
Green flag's out.
Away we go then. But yes, if you recognize the Golf.
And here's Stefan, who's going to take it easy poking his nose in there.
Yeah, I can see that.
I can't wait to see him afterwards.
This is great.
Taking it easy.
Stefan Johansson, of course, his current day job managing Scott Dixon and a fellow Swede in Felix Rosenqvist in IndyCar. Not a bad couple of pedalers to look after, actually.
No, I've already spoken my piece on Felix Rosenqvist and what I think of that young man. I think he's a fine individual. I think he's a really talented driver, and the future of IndyCar is certainly bright with the talent that they have. I really like Felix. He's a really fine young man. I mean, you want to talk about a guy who. Very Dan Weldon-ish in the sense that if he sees a room, if he goes into a room, he goes to the faces that he knows the least and introduces himself and makes him known to those people because he wants to know everyone in the room. And I have a map for that.
That's a smart move. By the way, in the 21, just behind Stefan, is another great driver, Chris McAllister, in that beautiful 21. And if you ever saw the film Le Mans, the number 20 was made famous, of course, because it was driven by Steve McQueen. And in fact, a lot of the filming was driven by Steve McQueen. And I know because Brian Redmond was the driver of that car, both during the film and in the Le Mans beforehand. And they literally took 3/4 of the field when they filmed the film and had the actual drivers from the previous Le Mans. They filmed it, I think, September. They had special cars made up, with race drivers with cameras. Steve McQueen was not only the actor but also one of the directors. And I asked Brian about it because he had a relationship, if you will, with the car afterwards. He actually sold it to Steve, and he said that he'd never been more impressed with an actor come racer like Steve McQueen. So it's not just Paul Newman that was fairly handy. Steve McQueen himself, from some of the greats, say Steve McQueen, if he'd chosen to, could have been a fantastic racing driver.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure of the case. I never got to witness anything up front, and he's a guy he probably very understated in that sense. And wow, I mean, I'm telling you what, Chris McAllister's racing, going right to the point of this field, and for this exhibition, and just going to go ahead and head this one out with the 917 up front.
I have one of those 917s in dinky fashion still on my desk today. I know that's how sad I am.
Look at Stefan there in P2. Hey, Mister, I'm going to take it easy.
I was watching the engineers showing him all the buttons, and he's quietly listening as he does. But Bruce Canepa pokes his head in and says, don't show him all the bits and bobs, just show him where the power is, how to turn it on, and how to go fast in it. That's all he needs to know.
He had to remind him how to shift gears. It had been a long time.
I bet it's a little different than the 97 Jost Porsche he won.
Oh, big difference. Yeah, big difference.
And for those who don't know, Stefan Johansson had a storied career in both Formula One and sports car racing. Raced, of course, for the teams like Shadow, McLaren, and Ferrari.
Yeah, for the great Enzo Ferrari himself. Considered himself to be a good friend of Enzo Ferrari.
And I know this to be true because he told me yesterday.
Mm-hmm. No, you and Stefan got to be very close yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, exchanging recipes for your Swedish meatballs. I was very impressed.
Hurdy-gurdy.
Yeah, very impressed.
Very, very good indeed. Here we go. Here comes Billy Johnson in that white LM waving.
I think there's might be a turbo issue on Billy's car because he hasn't been able to accelerate.
No, okay.
So I'm guessing he has a turbo issue.
Oh, and those Eagles sound so good.
Those do sound good. Those Ford engines.
Yeah, as the sun goes down here, we're having a bit of levity because it's only an exhibition. We've got more racing to come, but for now, this is a wonderful exhibition of some of the world's finest sports cars, and talk about period and back in the era. And I think you're absolutely right. These are all Canepa-owned vehicles, I think.
Yeah, my only regret was in the moments that we had down there, I didn't have enough time to really ask him for just a little bit of history on each one of these.
Yeah.
We do know that the car that I believe Billy Johnson is in was driven by George Foreman.
George Foreman, yeah.
So that's some interesting history there. Would love to know the history on these 917s. These are obviously anything that's a 917 out of Porsche. Mr. Taking It Easy is in the lead, just so everyone knows.
Yeah.
Stefan is gone. Nobody anywhere near him. And I believe we're going to get a nice little look here of the Gurneys, which is going to be a nice little shot as the sun falls on the hills here in Monterey, California, or Salinas. We're pretty close to either one, and beautiful, beautiful, beautiful drone shots that we have here overhead.
I bet you he hasn't done a book yet, but can you imagine what Stefan could write about from his era, from the 80s, with Shadow, Spirit, Tyrrell, Tolman, Ferrari, McLaren, Ligier, Onyx, AGS, and Footwork. Drove for all of those teams, did 103 Grand Prix, 12 podiums, and scored 88 career points.
What a beautiful Gurney Eagle coming down the front straightaway here. This number 88, the blue and yellow. Just what a gorgeous, gorgeous car. Looks like a praying mantis, just like grabbing the ground.
I used to have table mats when I was growing up. Now I'm showing my age, but used to have these cars on, and I thought they showed some of the BRMs and the Coopers coming over at the Nürburgring with all four wheels off the ground, and I was like, wow, that's special.
Yeah, it looks like a bug jumping. Yeah, it's so cool. I love that era. It's just such a great era. Look at the exhaust, the headers on.
I know.
That, and just the spaghetti strings that it is.
They sound absolutely magical.
High above here at the Tech Raceway Laguna Seca. You see the sun is peeling down on us as we're watching the Gurneys exchange front position. I do believe, we're looking at Gunnar Jeanette there.
Yep.
In the 36.
Yeah, we had a brief chat with him at lunch, enjoying his weekend and loving the opportunity.
And if it's not Gunnar, you can hear me on the loudspeaker. Come up here and
tell us why.
Yeah, prove me wrong.
But he said he really enjoyed it, didn't he?
Oh, he was. I mean, the guy. What you love about Gunnar, for many reasons, about his energy. He's got such a high energy about all this. He loves doing it. He's got a passion for it. You know how I feel about his talent, his abilities, and what he can do behind the wheel. And I just really think he is one of the more underrated drivers on the professional scale. I think I would love to see him get more opportunities, like in IMSA and the WeatherTech Series and any of those endurance cars. He's so valued in this part of our sport, in the vintage part, because he shows such great speed all the time, but he takes care of stuff. I mean, the equipment is always underneath him. He's very mechanically sensitive. He's very mechanically aware. Like, he knows. I mean, his father, Kevin Jeanette, one of the great legends of the sport, spinning wrenches, he knows. Gunnar was raised with that, you know, acute sense. So he doesn't push anything. He knows how to massage something, and he understands what's at stake here. And it's not about necessarily where you finish, or even if you do get across the line, it's that car needs to go in that trailer exactly the way it looks.
Yeah, and also part of the Florida-based Revs Institute.
Yeah, he is, and actually he is part of the WeatherTech family too. So he currently resides outside of Chicago and works with the McNeil family and helps them over there with their classic car collection and exercises their classic cars, as we've seen him at other events with some Ford GT40s, you know, that have actually never saw the light of day until he took them out on track.
This is great. Putting on a show.
Really, really good stuff here.
And it's almost like this time of night at Laguna. And I mean, I've not been here in November, and I don't think many have, because there's very few major races at this time of year here. So it's really exciting to be here. The sun goes down quick and early, and so we don't get this sort of dusk kind of almost Le Mans feel.
I don't know why we don't race out here more this time of year. I mean, this is the time of year to come out here and race, I would think. I love what we're experiencing here. And just like you said, the way the dusk hits the race cars, as we're going to get Bruce and Stefan get a little racy. And Stefan's like, nah, go ahead, man. These are all your cars.
Yeah, I'll bet Bruce is enjoying just being out there with Stefan just as much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Both ways.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Stefan's been a super, you know, he's always a treat to have around. He is a fantastic ambassador for our sport. He loves this sport and a great deal, and he's does such a great job at managing, you know, the two talents that he manages and the numerous others that he's got in the wings that are not the household names of American racing.
And you know what? Scott Dixon's got a fair few accolades in sports car racing himself of late. And I'll bet when Stefan sees him next time and says, yeah, I took the 917 out for a spin, he'll be like, really?
Yeah, right?
Really? Because knowing Scott as I do, that would be ultimate for him.
Yeah, no, he's a historian of the sport. And most of the legends are historians of the sport. They understand the past, they respect the past, and they love the past. And of course, if there wasn't history in the sport, then what are you out there going to do, right? You were out there wanting to make your own history within the sport. We were talking earlier about Sebastian Vettel, and Jessica was talking about what a gem and what a treat he has been. I mean, she couldn't speak highly enough about the man and how everything is on the surface with him, and what you see is what you get. And
he has no reason to put any time into her career or spend any time and just...
But he has.
He has.
And that just says something about his status and what he'll leave on the sport. And he's a historian of the sport. He loves the history of the sport, and he's got a steady place in it, a four-time world champion.
You know, and I think that someone like Sebastian will involve himself in events like this in the future. Like Mika.
We'll see a lot of Sebastian, and he will be so accessible. He will be so fun to have around because of his accessibility.
Yeah, and there are very few in the modern era that'll be like that. I don't think, I'm not being rude to Lewis, but I don't think Lewis will make that many appearances where and be that interested in following.
We'll see Danny Rick.
We'll see Danny Rick, absolutely. I've got a feeling we'll see Lando Norris too.
Yeah, I think so too.
But he's got a long way to go yet.
Yeah, you know, they both do. And I want to see Danny Ricciardo. I want to see his career keep going long and long and long. And I mean, his personality, you can't miss. I mean, he is one of the few true, just genuine, wear it on the sleeve personalities. He always has that smile on his face. He's great with the fans. A great social media presence. He's just definitely a favorite.
Yeah, I love telling the story. I used to do Formula BMW in Asia, and one of the first seasons I did it, and as you know, Formula BMW very similar. As the checkered flag is out for our demonstration of 917s as they come to the final two corners here.
It's going to be Stefan.
Of course it's going to be Stefan.
Mr. I'm going to cruise around.
Good to see you again. Sorry, I'm just saying hello to our next guest. But I better turn the mic off. But here comes the checkered flag, and guess who? Stefan Johansson takes the checkered flag, as he's done so many times before here in the United States. And a great demonstration of 917 Porsches raced as they were supposed to be here in the sunlight of Monterey, California. Well done, Stefan. And I think it was Bruce Canepa just behind him, and then Billy Johnson. And here comes the Eagles. They were line astern, but now they're finishing on their own. Oh, we're not far away from each other. So great stuff, and a great exhibition of fantastic history. Some of the most iconic cars you'll ever want to see, and you don't want to just see them parked up in the paddock. You want to see them out on track, and that's what we've done here. Hats off again to Jeff O'Neill and to the Canepa Collection for allowing these cars to be seen at their finest. Absolutely superb. And I want to thank Stefan for his time too. Like I said, if you are here, go and have a look at his art in the driver's lounge. Fascinating to see, and more impressed than I thought I'd be. I hadn't seen his art before, and he's a very, very handy artist, and what a difference, a racing driver to artist. But there you go, an artist in every way, both on track and off. So that concludes our 917 exhibition. And we'll get ready for our next bit of action on track. So, into the paddock come the 917s, and a look down my list means that we should have Group 5 coming up very soon. We've also got another exhibition of the McLaren Racing team, and we finish off the day with the Minis versus the Mustang. David versus Goliath. Looking forward to that. So stay with us here if you're watching on the live feed. And down in Velocity Lane is our girl KB, as we call her, Kiri. What's going on, Kiri? Is our girl KB, as we call her, Kiri. What's going on, Kiri?
Well, Velocity Lane is still alive. We've got one more demonstration run, and then we've got the Mini versus Mustangs. You're looking at John Shirley here, car number 10. This incredible Ferrari in all white. Now, some say their favorite color racing car is white. So a spectacle to be desired indeed. I might try and sneak in and see if I can have a word with John, but at the moment they're just doing their seatbelt fastening, gloves on, all the gear to get yourself out on track. All right, well, we have another Ferrari also heading out onto track, and then the fantastic Mercedes, which we've seen earlier on, is the 300 SLR. So eyes just on John Shirley. I'm going to see if I can sneak in. He might not be able to hear me, but we'll give it a go. John, are you looking forward to heading out onto the track?
I am. I haven't been out for quite a while, so this will be fun.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about the history of the car and how it came to be in your hands?
The car went to England and raced in England 62 to 65. It was raced by a lot of people. Richie Ginther once drove it, and Graham Hill once drove it. They raced at Goodwood, Silverstone, the usual tracks. And then in 1970, it was bought by gentleman Jack Sears, who was the man who introduced stock cars to the UK. He kept it for 29 years. Didn't do much of anything to it, drove it to the store to get groceries, and sold it to me.
Fantastic. Well, you enjoy it out there. The sun's just about to set, so it is the perfect setting for a ride around Laguna Seca. Okay, well, we'll just head down this way and have a look at the second of the Ferraris. Now, the Ferrari here in the red is actually taking a passenger out, so we might try and sneak in. Again, I don't know whether they'll be able to hear us, but it is the car number 20. I think you might be able to start your engines in a sec. Are you looking forward to heading out there?
There we are. We're excited.
You've got a passenger in there. Are you feeling nervous?
Yeah. A very special gentleman who's never been on a racetrack before, so he's going to have a good time.
He's putting it in your hands. Okay, can you tell us a bit about the history of this car?
This was from 1963. It's one of 36. It raced at Le Mans 1963 in the Tour de France, both in 63 and 64, and has been raced most of its life. So great history and a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, it's an incredible machine. I know you're going to enjoy it out there just by the smile on your face, so have fun, guys. Thanks so much. Still got, of course, the Italian flag on there. Steeped in history. Every single one of these cars, so much history, and more history than you could possibly ever imagine. That must be quite nerve-wracking, never being out on a racetrack before, and he's going out in a passenger ride in this car. So that's the three. They're heading out for this demonstration set of laps, and then, as I said, the evening will come to a close with the Minis versus the Mustangs. Okay, let's try and head up to the top here and see if we can have a look at the Mercedes. Now, as we said, we have seen and spoken to, but it's got a different driver in it this time. So it's the Mercedes 300 SLR. We can see Stefan Johansson is actually taking a passenger in this car. So all hands changing over now, and things are unfolding in front of us. I'm not sure we knew that Stefan was going to be taking a passenger, but we'll see if we can have a chat to his passenger. Now, can you tell us how you came to be so lucky to get a passenger ride from Stefan Johansson?
So I'm Win McCaw, Bruce McCaw's son. So my father's had this on loan for about 9 years now from Mercedes, and we thought it'd be a great time to join Stefan in the car.
Well, what a great time it is indeed. Are you looking forward to heading out there?
Yeah, really excited.
What a treat. Okay, well, there we go. Some fantastic passenger rides. The Minis filling up the back of Velocity Lane. Stefan stepping back into the car, a little hot and sweaty from his previous run out there. I'm sure he's enjoying this very much, taking it all in. Some very, very cool cars to be heading out at the end of the day here at Laguna Seca. All right, well, engines will roar very shortly indeed. Engines will roar very shortly indeed. It's such wonderful moments, isn't it? It's the past, the history of motor racing, all captured in these moments as they head out. So Johnny and Adam, I'll hand back over to you.
Great stuff, Kiri. Yeah, and what a thrill. I'll tell you what, that local artist doing a pretty good job. Just kidding. Stefan Johansson steps out of the 917 and straight into a 300 SLR, one of the most beautiful cars. And as you heard from Mr. McCraw, a moment ago, he feels one of the greatest cars ever to race. And I wouldn't go far off saying that's not far off the truth. And of course, won the 1955 Mille Miglia in the hands of Sterling Moss. This particular car, well, not the one you're looking at now, but the car from the Mercedes anyway, was driven by Hans Hermann. It didn't finish that 1955 race, but still a fantastic car. And in the hands of Stefan Johansson, quite a thrill for all of us here. And very nice to see Stefan getting a passenger in Bruce McCaw's son. What an opportunity for him. And then that Ferrari that raced in 1963 at Le Mans, one of 63 only, the number 20, and that is a beauty. That is one of the most beautiful Ferraris I've seen here this weekend. And if you hear a little chatter in the background, it's because we've got guests, as always. It's been a popular place to be. Adam, you've been chatting. I've been kind of concentrating on what we've got, because what we've got right now is an exhibition. We've got the 300 SLR that we saw earlier in the weekend, the Mercedes from 1955 that Hans Hermann drove at Mille Miglia. Sadly not to a finish. They had a petrol spill which spilled over both the drivers, and they had to pull out while leading, which allowed Sterling Moss to carry on and go on to win. And I say allowed because I think Sterling did a pretty good job, a pretty sterling job, you may add, by averaging 97 miles an hour in the exact replica of that car, or a very similar car to it. There were 4 in all. Fangio drove one as well. He was second, but it was one of Sterling Moss's greatest drives, and many would say one of the greatest drives of all time. So we're joined once again by Ross Merrill and Jonathan Merrill. It's like we have got the whole family here. It's wonderful. And of course, we mentioned the Laguna Seca Foundation. And before we get into the action of this exhibition, Ross, again, just to reiterate, you were here yesterday, but we showed the promo of the foundation. Just talk a little bit about it.
Just to raise funds to finance improvements in Laguna Seca Raceway, independent of the operator and the owner. And it's such an iconic racetrack and so deserving of the world-class amenities that it deserves. So that's what we're all about. And we're here spreading that message at the Velocity Invitational.
And I bet you boys at Laguna aren't going to forget the day that the SLR came to town.
Never forget that.
And we've also got another mini Merrill. I know Thomas. This is Jonathan. Good name, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Good to be here.
Don't tell me you're not a racing driver.
I was born a racing driver, but I chose to be a farmer instead.
Good move. There's money in farming. There's money in them there hills.
I know. I chose the rational
Proud
way out.
father there.
Yeah.
Well, at least one of the family sensible, because mother races as well.
She does. Yeah, she was one of the best in her group, too. She's kicking the butts of all the guys out there.
Thomas once told me about how he, as a little kid, and probably yourself, used to go around at lunchtime in the Porsche with her, and he got the bug instantly. And, of course, I think earlier this year, Thomas won, or certainly in the last couple of years that we've been coming here, Thomas won one of our Trans Am races here. So, yeah, great to have the Merrills in full song here. But how about this car, guys? Let's just talk about it. Ross, I've mentioned it a couple of times. This is not one of a kind, but it's such a rarity. Talk about a unicorn.
Yeah, I don't know too much about this car, individually, but I'm sure you guys can fill in what I don't know.
You've seen it playing in magazines, right?
Yeah.
Well, as I mentioned, it was Mercedes basically entering their latest car in 1955. And, of course, they had factory drivers like Moss and Fangio on hand. And they both entered the Mille Miglia, which is an unbelievable race. 1,000 miles through the streets, dusty roads of Italy with people and cats and dogs and chickens running out. And to do it in just over 10 hours at an average speed of 97 miles an hour. I've driven some of the Mille Miglia roads while I've been in Italy and just, been aghast at anybody. I mean, I was probably driving about 40 miles an hour, and that was fast because it's just windy. It's like being in England at that point. So hats off to them. Absolutely incredible. So what kind of farm are you in, Jonathan?
Well, we do a bunch of leafy greens down in the valley. So everything that you've driven past down Highway 101, so broccolis, cauliflowers, leafy greens, celery, all that kind of stuff.
I love it. Well, and of course, we're just... Yeah, that's why they look so healthy. Actually, exactly, yeah. Salinas just down the road. If you're not familiar with this part of the world, of course, literally the hotbed for most of the vegetables that America eats, if not the world, for avocados and broccoli. And, well, of course, it's a great wine country too. But great to have you guys on board. And the Merrill tradition continues here at Laguna. And Ross, again, we talked about the foundation, but what are your hopes, perhaps, for the future then, for both the foundation and the revamping or the future, if you will, of Laguna Seca?
Well, the foundation is being revitalized now after a period of dormancy, and we're getting activated. We got a fresh board. We got making presence at events this year here at Laguna Seca. This event being one, the Rolex Reunion, and of course SVRA, Trans Am Speed Fest, and we're getting the word out that we're here, we're active. We've got a brand new website. We're on social media.
What's the website?
Website is lsrfnd.org.
Okay.
And Facebook or Instagram, and it'll take you there. It explains all about the foundation, its history, and what its purpose is. We've got a couple of events on the calendar for 2022 here at Laguna Seca, so please follow us and learn more about those as details become available. That'd be very exciting.
Well, I always
meaningful fundraising activities for the foundation.
Good. Well, every time I come to Laguna, I first sort of discovered Laguna for myself when I was doing both MotoGP and World Superbikes back in England. And, of course, back there for the Laguna race, we had to get up at like 2 in the morning just to be there live to do it, to do the live coverage of the race. So it was always a hard one to do, but we always came out with a huge grin on our faces at 6 a.m. in the middle of London, everybody else wandering around drunk from the night before, and we've just come out and watched Laguna Seca live, and we're like, what's up with you guys? We've just experienced a real life-changing experience. And it was fun to see this track for the first time and see the corkscrew in its glory. So, yeah, I've got a fond memory of watching Laguna from afar and finally getting here some 10 years later.
Well, we as a family have fond memories of Laguna Seca.
I bet.
We're, literally, our kitchen table is 4 miles away from where we're sitting.
Well, I bet it rattled a little when the Trans Am cars went by.
Yeah, when the historic Trans Am fires up, you definitely know things are happening. And so we're happy to be locals. We're happy to be close by. I'm the 3rd generation farmer in the Salinas Valley. Jonathan here is 4th generation. Very proud of that legacy. We're very proud of the legacy that Laguna Seca represents, the valuable county asset that it is, the importance to our community, and the wonderful it should and will have.
And don't think that those of us who don't live in California but do watch the news are aware of what for the last 10 years you've been dealing with. There's been droughts, there's been fires, there's been everything, trying to hold you back, as it were. So we appreciate the fact that you've kept on going and keep on going, because were it not for the farmers of California, we would not be eating our fresh vegetables ever again. So thank you for keeping going.
Well, you're welcome. And, the racing business can be a lot like agriculture.
Very true.
It takes a lot of patience, it takes a lot of tenacity, and it takes a lot of teamwork. And so here at Laguna, we're looking forward to working together with the ownership, the operator, the volunteer association, and the many supporters that this track has for, making its future all it can be.
Thanks, Ross. Nice words. And thanks for coming up, Jonathan and Ross. And thanks for spending some time with us this weekend. It's been fun. Is there one car that you've seen this week where you think, I'd really like to have a go around this track in there?
Well, I really like that orange 70 ST that ran around in the dark last night.
Yeah?
Yeah, that was fun. And it ran in the middle of the day today and on a fresh set of tires and ran pretty well. So no vintage tractors at the farm. What we have works every day. We do have a 2-cylinder John Deere that's sitting over on the side. It hasn't run in a long, long time, but yeah. But no Porsche tractors in the Merrill household. Yeah, no Lamborghinis either. But anyway, thank you, Jonathan, for having us, and Adam.
My pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. And we follow your broadcast wherever you guys go, and you do a super job.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So thanks for having us. We really appreciate it.
Anytime, and any chance to come to Laguna, I'm here. I love it. I think I want to do a race school here. I think this would be the good place to come. I've done a few race schools, but never here, obviously. There you go. I can do that, and I'll sign up when I can. But we're watching Stefan Johansson in the beautiful 704 from 1955, the 300 SLR. And the man who brought it here, his son, is in the passenger seat right now. And also in one of the other cars, the passenger is a man who's never been on a racetrack, which is pretty impressive. So that'll be a passenger ride for the day, that's for sure. Brave man. Great stuff. Thank you to Jonathan and to Ross for coming in.
Yeah, I tell you, the more I learn about this Merrill family, the more I like them. The more I want them to feed Thomas less vegetables, so that
maybe at picking time we can volunteer.
Well, now I know the speed secret. So many vegetables, so maybe I'll step that game up, get them to feed them less, and then we can get something out of this. But no, the more I learn about this great family, the more I love them to death. So so happy that they're here and supporting this great facility. But also, I had no idea that you supported us the way you do with your agriculture. So we certainly appreciate that. I think farmers are definitely underrated. I had both my grandfathers I was telling you about were farmers, and so it's definitely a thankless job. It's one of those things where you go pull stuff off the shelves, go pay with it with our own hard-earned money. Fair enough, but we do that without thinking a second on what you all go through and the risk that you take. And that was something I always saw my grandfather. Every time he threw $1 million worth of seeds in the ground, that was a risk. On if floods would come, a freeze would come, any of those things would happen, and you all know this. And that's what the general public, what so many of us take for granted. So know that you definitely are appreciated, and definitely appreciate you guys on even a more level than I had before.
Well, we appreciate that immensely, and it's a labor of love. We're out there every day because we choose to, because we love it. And the community is a big part of what we do, and we love being a part of Laguna Seca, and everything that we can do to make it a better facility and a better community is everything that makes us and the job worthwhile.
Well, I think this facility should be supplied with Merrill leafy greens from now on. I mean, I think that should be just the perfect fit. You know, I mean, let's get the catering all involved.
I like it. I like the idea
that we're getting that stuff on our plate that's just 4 miles down the road. If not, I'm going to that kitchen table that's just 4 miles down the road you keep bragging about. We're going to have ourselves some Merrill leafy greens right there.
Anytime. You're welcome in anytime.
And if, like my mother, your mother says, don't leave your broccoli.
Yeah.
Eat all your broccoli.
Oh, she'd be mad at me right now.
The Merrills will be on the case.
My self-invite, she would have been flicking me in the ear for already.
Beautiful scene here at Laguna Seca. We're coming to the closing part of this wonderful weekend of racing and exhibitions. We've had McLaren Formula One, we've had Porsche exhibitions in 917s. We're now looking at the number 10, which has got a car here, that the Ferrari that has had Graham Hill and Richie Ginther driving it in the days.
What is exhibition here too? I mean, you're looking at, you want to talk about there's priceless works of art circling a track all at once. That's what we are privileged to witness right now. I mean, this would be like watching, the Mona Lisa float around the neighborhood, and just get to be on different family room walls. This is just incredible to actually see this. And I'm telling you, Stefan Johansson right now, no one is having more fun than him. He has sat and he has stayed in that Mercedes and lapped continuously this whole 20-minute session. And I'm not 100% sure that was right to plan. I have a feeling that he just got out there. I mean, that has got to be such a ball to drive. Just the sound alone, every time they drive by this front straightaway, it just gets my blood curling.
I've been trying to make a parallel for other sports, but you wouldn't see Franz Klammer going down in an historic downhill anytime soon, or Lindsey Vonn, would you? I don't think you'd even see Carl Lewis going another 100 meters just for an exhibition either, because it just wouldn't look quite the same. But we can have Mika Hakkinen, two-time world champion, drive his own car and have his own mechanics that drove him to that world championship right here today. I love it.
Yeah, that's special. I mean, that's just so special. That's something you can't find anywhere else, and that's something that Velocity Invitational has given us this year. We look forward to the upcoming events. I know we've had a date already set next year, and mid-October, October the 14th, I believe, is what I understand. But this is going to be really good.
So we have just one more special little tidbit for you coming up, and that is more than just a tidbit. It's going to be a great way to finish the day, I assure you. Let's head down to Kev Harris, newly made racing driver over the weekend. He had to start small, but he is growing in stature as he gets around the paddock. Kev, over to you.
Johnny, thanks ever so much. I've only found the man who's responsible for all of this. What a great gentleman as well, just catching up with Don Racine. Don, firstly, thank you for organising this, Mini versus Mustangs. You're responsible for bringing it to the US and the Velocity Invitational.
Yes, it's been a great pleasure doing it. Really been a lot of fun. A lot of satisfaction.
And you've opened a lot of people's eyes bringing all of these minis here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. People that didn't understand what mini racing was all about are now ready to jump in and do it themselves. They really are.
And some of these cars are road-going minis, Cooper S's and Mini Coopers that have been converted to track racers, but some of them were out-and-out track racers from the 60s.
Absolutely. There's probably 6 or 8 of them that were race cars from the beginning almost, and are still now been restored and running them again. Just unreal.
And I understand when the event was being put together, Ryan Turi said to you, I want to do a mini race. And you said, hold it, whoa. We should do Mini versus Mustang.
Yes, absolutely. Far more fun, far more crowd appeal.
Yeah.
It's actually a David and Goliath story.
It is a great David and Goliath story. And in our announcer booth, the commentators out there, we've got Johnny Green, who's very English. He's an effervescent Englishman. And we've got Adam Andretti, who is all about the US of A. So we got the battle going on in commentary.
Absolutely. Yeah, it should be. Yeah, absolutely. It'll be a great race again tonight.
And listen, just quickly, you had a great story, and I love the way you delivered it. I said to you, when did you get into minis? And you told me that you used to have a Porsche that you raced.
Right.
When
I was a kid, I was racing on the East Coast in a 356 Porsche. And I decided to move to California, I sold the Porsche, bought another one when I moved to California. The insurance company came to me and said, "You're a kid, we got you."
Yeah.
I sold the Porsche, and I remembered when I was racing back there, the only thing that used to beat me was a little gray-haired old man in a Mini. And now I am one.
There he is. Don, what a fantastic story. On that note, I will shake you by the hand. Thank you graciously for putting this on. And I'll hand to Kiri, who's at the front of the grid, chatting to some excited drivers. What a legend. Thanks, Don. Kiri, over to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, what a story that was. There's plenty of Minis up here, though, with their own stories. Now, Andrew, wait, you'll see the bright orange of car number 62. Andrew, what a contest this is. Mustangs versus Minis. Obviously a big Mini fan. Tell us a bit of history about your Mini.
So this car was built as a race car about 35, 40 years ago. It belonged to a guy called Randy Unsby, who ran it in club racing for years. And then I think he sold it to Don. I don't quite remember when, and Don has preserved it very much as he got it. And it's just a huge, huge amount of fun to drive. These things are absolutely brilliant. They're great.
So much fun and so many Minis out there. Obviously, you're heading into the dark as well. This is the perfect setting for a Mini versus Mustang.
Oh, I mean, drama, right? I mean, and cuteness, right? A lot of cuteness as well.
Yeah. Well, we are in California, so we may as well have the Hollywood setting. Thank you, Andrew Waite, for talking to us. Well, we've actually got Matt Johnson. He's waving in the air. I'm not sure he's waving for us, but Matt, I think you want to start your engine as well, but in your Mustang here, can you tell us a little bit of history about this car?
Yeah, this car was it's a 1966 Shelby GT350. It was bought by an ex-Shelby board member, Jeff Berge, in 1970. He raced it in SCCA from 1970 to 1975. It was put in storage for about 10 years and then resurrected in vintage race from about 1985 through 2006 or so. And I just picked it up about 6 months ago. So it's an inaugural event.
Yeah, well, what a perfect way to enjoy your purchase out here at Laguna Seca. What do you make of the Minis? Can you take them?
It's a blast running with them. I mean, you know, you come on the front straight, there's a pack of 5 of them. You got to figure out which way you're going to split them up, but we're having a lot of fun out there, and there are some quick little cars. So it's interesting. It's making it fun. Running into the dark has been a blast as well. So couldn't ask for a better event.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Enjoy it out there. Thank you so much. Okay, well, it is Mini versus Mustang. It is the perfect Hollywood setting. The sun setting behind the mountains. Can the Minis take on the Mustangs? Boys, what do you make of it?
Absolutely love it. We loved it the first time. I think it's going to be second time around, and really looking forward to this. No question about it.
Yeah, this has been a highlight of the weekend that we haven't been able to shut up about since it happened on the first night there, Friday night. This was our first broadcast that you and I did this weekend, Jonathan, and it was just such a gas. We had Kev Harris up here with us and calling the action as the lights fell off, as the sunshine fell behind the hills. You can see it just there in the far corner of the shot that we have, giving you these wonderful drone footage. But yeah, this is a favorite. This is quickly becoming a fan favorite, and for good reason. You can see they blasted some holes in the back of that one to get the air out of it, you know, as back window to be a sail. Jonathan, do you see that?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, just for the record, Mustang did win the first iteration of this new race.
Well, I'm glad you can admit that.
Oh, no. And Mini dominated the podium. They were second and third.
Well, no. I can't say dominated the podium, because the domination of the podium.
Well,
is
there's only
top
3
step.
people on a podium.
But there's only one top step.
There is only one top step.
And that's the dominated point of the podium. That's worth all 3 steps.
Well, luckily it's not
trumped the other 2 steps by being on the top step, because the other 2 steps
don't matter.
Would give up a limb to be on that top step.
That is spoken like a true racing driver and an Andretti, I may add. True. But I'm trying to fight the fight here.
And I appreciate it. And just like in 1776, I'll win this.
That is made of cheese. That is made of cheese.
That is made of cheese.
Yes. So
and again, that's why you may have lost in 1776, is believing.
By the way, I believe that shot was Ron Bigford, a fine cameraman and a great man for getting the moon.
Yeah.
But we're going to be over the moon.
That Bob, the cameraman, right? That's Bob that's up there on the moon?
Yes, that's Bob, our cameraman, but actually known as Ron for his actual mates.
Oh, gotcha.
But to be fair, again, and I don't want to get, controversial here. But the Mustang...
You know what follows that up?
But the Mustang that won only did have, if this was an SCCA Pro race, it only had one headlight.
Just like the wallflowers, one headlight is all you need.
Just one headlight.
Yes, and I'm telling you, I thought it made our broadcast really much easier to call, Jonathan. So I think you're being very picky here.
I know, and our cameraman admitted it was about the only thing that helped them get
That's what helped them find the leader. So I think they're going to ask for someone to lose a headlight if they get in the lead, and that way we can find them easier. But this seems to be dominated the front right now by the minis. There's the Mustang. There we go. They're going to have a little bit of work ahead of them.
Joking aside, the Mini is a mercurial car because nobody would have pinged it, for a race car. It was never designed as such. And it was literally not a family car, but it was, a regular car of its day in the 60s. And it's interesting because once it got in the hands of Rally and the likes of Paddy Hopkirk and many others, though Paddy obviously is probably the most famous exponent of the Mini Rally, it just never stopped. And clubs, the Minis you see out here have come primarily from California, but there's a group from Texas that have come here as well. So we actually asked some of the Mini guys, how many Minis are around in America? And they said, more than you think. And it just seems so odd to think of Minis in Texas. One, I live there, and the roads are massive, and you can put two Minis in a parking spot in Texas.
Oh, easily. You can run them side by side down one lane in the highway.
Yeah, you could.
It's phenomenal.
You put four in a two-way garage.
Yeah, until you get in a construction zone in Texas, and then they give you half the lane of it anywhere else in the country. But yeah, I agree. And that was the thing too, Jonathan. There was not too many right-hand drives. This first one's a right-hand drive, and then the second one's an American, left-hand drive, then another right-hand drive. But almost all of them were, American or left-hand drive cars, and that just goes to show you how many. And I knew that group from Texas would be near and dear to your heart.
Oh yeah,
sure, because that's where you call your son, call home, and you and your parents right there as well. And it's just, we were just in that area with you with the end of our Trans Am season. But everyone's getting heat in their tires. It's the sun has fallen, and as we've mentioned all weekend long, once the sun disappears here, so does about 15 degrees of ambient temperature. Right, Jonathan?
Absolutely. Just to give you the displacement competition, we said David and Goliath, but imagine this. A Mini's got, I don't know, basically the standard 1200, probably up to 1300 with a bit of fettling around.
Harley Davidson engine.
Yeah. So what are we talking against the Mustangs here? 500 plus?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's weight to power ratio, though, right? That's
exactly.
What it's all about.
Well, why don't you explain that? In all seriousness, a circuit like this is perfect to show off the nimbleness of the Mini and also the power and glory of the mighty Trans Am.
Well, I'll refer back to what Pat O'Ward was saying up here. He got in that 600 kilo Formula One car that Mika Hakkinen won the World Championship in, and as opposed, or 500 kilo, I think it's 500 kilo.
500 kilos.
And then comparing that to the 800 kilo
of his car,
of the Indy car, and same horsepower technically, but the weight to power ratio. He said the acceleration of the Formula One car, which is, remember when he even did all the way through the gearbox, and so I think that's really the best way to explain it is exactly how Pat O'Ward discussed it with us when he went from the difference in the between the IndyCar and that beautiful World Championship winning Mika Hakkinen.
And in my Beth Pathé voice, let's take you back to the 60s as the mighty Minis take on the Mustangs as David and Goliath here at Laguna Seca take it away. WeatherTech Raceway has never seen the like, and away go the Minis. Absolutely superb. Our Group 10 Race 2. Take it away, boys.
Folks, I mean, he got into the role. He buttoned up his collared shirt.
He put the bow tie on.
Yeah, he put the bow tie on, hands in pocket, and we stood up and was at charge. But beautiful, beautiful stuff.
I'll bring the trophy next year for it. Look at those, like you said, those Mustangs don't know which way to go, do they? They can't run on the race line. Look, they're all over the shop.
No, and I tell you, they're going to, right here is when they're going to get eaten alive by the Minis, is this section from turn 2 to turn 5 is a handling portion, and that really is right up the Mini alley. But then as we get here, right as soon as they turn that apex of turn 5, it's an uphill battle all the way to the corkscrew, and that's when you're going to see the mighty of the Mustang.
Is
really
it
start to
me,
pull
or
it
can
up
I
the hill.
hear that song? It is a self-preservation society.
See, now you can see the Mustangs are going to make their move all the way up this hill, right? So it's just half of the track is really in the heart of the Mustang.
Just a few notes there from the Italian Job, made so famous by the Minis. A wonderful film if you've not seen it.
I believe that's Matt Johnson. We just saw a picture go through there and got a little interview with him beforehand.
I love the way we asked the art of driving a Mini down the corkscrew, and our answer from one of the Scottish Mini drivers, Mr. Baird, was Graham Brad, I think it was. He said, you just throw it in and hold on.
And stop it.
Stop it and hold on and stonk it. I love it. Well, the Minis are leading as we expected, so the Brits, as expected, here on foreign soil, doing the business, showing the Americans the way. A 1, 2, 3, 4, almost impossible, surely, for the Mustangs to catch up at this stage, wouldn't you say, Andretti?
Well, you know, this is too, and we saw that play in the earlier race on Friday, and I think the Mustangs were happy to let these Minis kind of dash it out and race against themselves and burn their tires down, and then you know, let that American muscle swoop in and do its job.
What inch tires would be on these 60s Ford Shelbys and so? How big?
Oh gosh.
All I know is
28-inch tire.
20-inch tire. So you're up at a 28-inch tire versus a 10-inch tire.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the wheel size would have been, you know, probably 15-inch wheel or 16-inch wheel on the Mustangs.
And by the way, on a serious note, we're having a bit of fun. It's the end of the day, but think about this in terms
That looks
of
like an 18-inch wheel.
Yeah. Think about this in terms of logistics. There are hundreds of boats out in the LA Bay right now because we all know what's going on. There's there's a problem with basically distribution everywhere around the world because of COVID. It's caused a huge blockage. And imagine this: there's a bunch of Mini tires out there, so they didn't get here for the weekend. So they had to import special Mini tires from Australia just so they could go and race.
There you go. I mean, that's one way to go about it. You know, I do know that, you know, Hoosier builds
They could have got them from Indiana.
Yeah, Hoosier builds tires right there in Indiana, and I know that a lot of them are on Hoosier tires. But also, it's all on what your preference is. You may have your car set up not to and the amazing amount of grip level they provide. But yeah, this is a good race coming forward here in the front. You know, Dennis Racine, and then you got Harinder da Silva and Andrew Nelson and Andrew Waite. You can all throw a blanket right on all four of them as we got a pass there for second place. A little bit of a lockup.
They are side by side, missing out the 52.
That's Andrew Nelson with a little bit of a lockup, trying to get around.
That's what they call a half Nelson.
I love these two. They wag the dog a little bit. You'll see him hike up the inside rear tire. It's kind of fun to see sometimes, especially around the Andretti hairpin. You can catch that.
You know, I've seen some demo minis where some sort of what I would call, demonstration stunt riding in a mini, and they're some of the finest, and they can literally get on two wheels.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. No, a little Joey Chitwood action, right?
Yeah.
Oh, look it up the hill. Is this going to be a pull up the hill? No. I'm going to tuck back into the slipstream.
Now, here comes the first of the mighty Mustangs on its way to challenge the Minis. But if I know my Minis, they'll get 4 wide and stop him in his tracks.
Well, you got to be very 4 wide because that thing is
maybe
coming.
6 wide.
That boy is coming. I'm telling you right now.
Oh, I would love to be out in a Mini.
Bakayoko.
Here he comes.
Mustang is coming.
Well, we had a close look at this car, particularly beautifully prepared, the 111. And in fact, to be fair to all those Mustangs, they weren't in the historic Trans Am race, but they're here and showing their wares here. That 66 Mustang in these amber glow colors that's coming quick. Mike Bayako and Ken Adams, like we said, they do a pit stop very soon coming up as the sun goes down. But as you can see, he's now bearing down on them, using the mighty muscle of that Mustang, Mike Bakayoko and Ken Adams.
Bakayoko. So he is driving nice and tidy. If that's indeed Mike and not Ken behind the wheel, whoever that is behind the wheel.
I think Ken's the replaced driver,
is driving really nice and tidy behind the wheel of that, and is definitely making ground on that British contingent in front of him.
Right, stiff upper lip, boys. You've got to hold the Mustang back now. He's in 5th place at the moment, but for how long?
You got an Italian inside of a Mustang. He is ready to go. I can promise you that. I can speak from experience.
There you go. Coming into turn 5, he's already over them. Surely by the time we get to the Ray Hall straight, he's going to use that muscle.
Well, I love the camber that you see in the front of these cars. Give him to turn on like that 30 car. You see that camber on Herindros de Silva's. You can see the lean of the tires when I'm talking about the front tire. You can see how they're leaning in towards the top. The Mustang, horsepower up the hill.
Yep, here he comes up that Ray Hall straight.
Mike grabs a spot from Andrew Waite, and he's a P4 right now, and he's on the hunt to get to Andrew Nelson. He'll be next on his crosshairs.
Into the corkscrew. Well, he hasn't made any impact on that front 4 just yet, but here he is, he's passed. Or he's got 1 Mini behind him and the 3 in front of him. Down the hill they come into Rainey.
So you're back into a little bit of mini territory here, going down the hill from Rainey all the way through 12. But then you're going to climb the hill a little bit to turn 1 down the front straightaway. So then you're going to gain, again, the Mustang will gain a little bit there. And then, like I said before, turns 2 through 5 are pretty much mini territory. But you watch out for that Mustang climbing the hill 5 to the corkscrew.
All right, spread out over the Andretti hairpin. Here he comes. He's sneaking around the outside. He's taken 1. He's taken 2. He's up to 3rd place.
Oh.
The race is on. Goliath is coming, and David's in trouble.
Yeah, David does have nothing in his slingshot.
He's got nothing.
As we got a driver off there, that was the number 52. That's Andrew Nelson. Doing a little bit of rallying in that rally car.
That was a full press, not a half, Nelson.
Yeah, right.
So he gets it back in gears. The sun is going down, but the racing's just heating up here in our final race of Velocity Invitational. What a weekend, what a fun time everybody here has had, including us here in the commentary booth. Thank you for all those who've visited us, and my thanks to Kiri as well, and to Kev for putting on a great show down there in the paddock and entertaining us. And look at this, great mini race too as well, just behind the 3rd place now, Mustang.
He might be taking the lead right now.
He's taking the lead.
Yeah, that's Mustang taking the lead.
But remember, there's a pit stop.
Yeah, that was for the lead, and he is gone. He's been lapping about 3 seconds a lap faster than these minis. So once his tires came up to temperature, this really became Goliath's race for sure.
Wonderful, wonderful sight. Look at how nimble those minis are. It's great to see. I honestly think I've just fallen in love with my own country's car again. If I want to go racing, I want to race a mini.
So we're going to see you cruising around Trans Am paddock in
my mini.
Yeah, I can see it. Your mini attached to the back to your RV.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I could put it on the back of an RV, to be honest.
Pretty easily, yeah, pretty easily.
Love it. So into the lead goes the American muscle car, the 111, 1966 Ford Mustang.
Mike is doing a great job. Like I said, I mean, he is really driving this course to perfection.
Yeah,
he's hitting all his marks. Driving the apex as well. Gets good drive off the Andretti hairpin there into turn number 3. It's going to be hard being a mini to beat a guy who's driving that tidy, honestly.
Yeah, to prepare. Ken Adams is going to get in the car, and we may see, as this battle for 3rd place continues, we may see a little bit of jumble of the field when we get those pit stops. And we saw yesterday that, or Friday, excuse me, that that pit stop for that automatic or pit stop they have to take. I've forgotten the word for a second. It's getting late.
It is getting late. It's been a long couple of days, my friend, and they'll get. I believe if I read that right, the first broadcast that we did on Friday night, they get
mandatory.
It's mandatory, and they get a double yellow too, around the midway point. So right around 20 minutes into the session, they're going to get a double yellow for 5 minutes. And I think in that 5 minutes, that's when you have to get your pit stop done.
Gotcha.
And I believe you have a minimum of 3 minutes that you have to spend in the pits.
Just got a shot of the 88. That's the Austin Mini Cooper S of Greg Wald and Dave Morgan. Dave Morgan about to get in. There's the 51. Quick glimpse of him. That's a British Leyland Mini 1275 GT. We saw that GT, if you remember.
We did. It was. We went and walked through all these, and they were just so much fun to look at. And these are drivers that we've also seen just in absolutely every aspect of our weekend, and drivers that participated in this entire weekend. So it's really a quite eclectic group, not only from the muscle cars to the minis, but also from the driver's point of view.
Good little battle here between the 52, who's been grass tracking a couple of times already. Got the little orange mini as he locks up, does the 52, the orange. 62 goes high and wide. And at the wheel, that's Andrew Waite. He's not in the mood to do that right now.
No, he's hustling, that's for sure. He's definitely getting that thing in there. That's nice. That was a good rotation.
What a wonderful spectacle and a great way to finish the day here at Laguna. The sun is definitely going down. We're going to be in the dark very soon. But we just got a little bit more light than we had on Friday night. They started a little bit earlier.
They did, I think so. And we're going to be done. It's going to be, session is built to go till 5:30, which that's been pretty dark here around 5:30. So it'll definitely be, again, hard to see for us in the broadcast booth. So we're counting on the 111 if it's still leading to lose a headlight during the pit stop, and that's going to keep us honest. But in all honesty, this is going to be a lot of fun. The footage that we got, the in-car footage from the earlier race on Friday, it was just absolutely spectacular.
That must be quite a feeling. I've come down in my own rental car down that.
I have my nieces that'll call that Tickle Belly Hill.
Tickle Belly Hill.
Yeah, because you get that tickle belly when you tickle your belly when you come down the hill.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
A little Tickle Belly Hill.
Now, interestingly enough, we've already got one of the minis in the pits. It's the 32. Or is it the 22? I'm not quite sure, but he's not far away from our position.
Boy, they're getting defensive down the front straightaway here, too. Yeah, it does look like a mini chicane. A moving mini chicane. And boy, we're off track again here in the number 30.
They really do want to turn that hairpin into a larger corner than it really is.
In a driving school, we call that an OCE.
Now, that's
an off-course excursion.
An OTC. Okay.
OCE.
Oh, OCE. I'm OCD. So that's De Silva's there with Timothy, his son, I believe. So that's good. So we're going to swap over father and son racing here. We used to do the three-legged race with father and son at school, but not racing cars.
It'd be a three-legged mini race. That'd be kind of fun, right? You have to share the gas pedal.
That would be real fun.
No, stay.
Oh, me and my dad would be arguing the whole way around.
I think we just created a new sport.
I think so. My dad used to race minis and rally.
Three-legged mini races.
So here's your leader coming down out of the corkscrew in our final race of the weekend. Who needs Formula One when you got this?
I'm telling you, who needs it? It's been a fantastic weekend, and to echo your sentiments, Jonathan, I hope everyone that's tuned in with us and will watch this in the future really enjoys any of the coverage that was provided here. The amazing camera shots, the crew that's behind the scenes working with us, they're the ones that make us look great up here. And just these fantastic shots all day and all weekend long. And so again, a huge thank you to everyone behind the scenes, everyone here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. The entire staff is always just a treat to come here and be involved and be a part of this, any event here at this great facility. And a special thank you to our guests that we had, and just wonderful, wonderful guests that we had through here the weekend, and Velocity Invitational and the team, Jeffrey O'Neill and the whole group there, and just the phenomenal job of the execution of this event. You would have thought that this is literally the 100th anniversary of an event like this, the way they pulled it off.
Yeah,
so
remember, this is only this. Yeah. I was about to make that point. This is only the second ever Velocity Invitational. We had one 2 years ago at Sonoma. And listening to Jeff and listening to Ryan over the weekend, they're making notes. They want to improve. They want to grow the event and grow the interest in the event. It's had great interest already. We've had great sponsors and great guest sponsors. We've had McLaren Formula One. Can't ask for more than that. No. And I know that Zach Brown is committed to coming back again next year.
And Zach sits on the advisory board for this event. So, he's heavily vested in this. And you could tell by how accessible he was for us this entire weekend. He came up here to the booth and spent time with us and shared some wonderful sentiments. He spent, I would count at least 2 interviews with Kev and Kiri down there. So just great work from that point of view. And I think they're only going to attract more and more. And Ryan Lewis said it best when he was up here. And I've known Ryan a lot of years, and he would not just sit here and bark these things just to say it. But there's cars that just, you've done these for a lot of years, and you see cars that you've never seen before, and you're like, oh, wow, that is like straight out of it. We saw it with Stefan Johansson with the Sterling Moss Mercedes-Benz out there cruising around and just making beautiful music out there.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it reminds me of what I read in the program about this sort of, David and Goliath challenge, and it says Ford versus Mini rivalry could be said to have started at the famous Monte Carlo rally of 1964, where Ford featured a V8 powered Falcon and BMC ran its greatly underpowered Mini Cooper. The rivalry has continued over the years. The incarnate of the Mini versus Mustang vintage races will take place this weekend, and here it is. I love it. And there's your top leaders. Well, we've had one pit stop. We've got another one right in front of us. The 32 car is in.
And I think I was wrong with my assumption that there would be a caution at the halfway point, since we have exceeded the halfway point. So they're not going to do that. This is just, I believe the pit window is open for you to be able to do your driver change.
Yeah, I'm just watching that now. The first of the Minis is in. And at the moment, as we say, it's Ford Mustang from 66 leading. From the 1966 Morris Mini Cooper S of Dennis Racine, the man putting this all together. There's your pit stop window open, and there is pit lane with, 4 Minis in at the moment. No Mustangs just yet.
I feel like it should be...
Or Michael Caine going, come on, boys. Right, we've got this. We can do this. We can do that. Just blow the bloody doors off. Beat those bloody Mustangs. I could see it right now. Michael, if you're over there in Hollywood, come on down.
Nice shot at the leader, accelerating up and making short work here.
Yeah, he's got some traffic to deal with, though, that's for sure. But he hasn't pitted yet.
No, he's not. No.
The Minis are not done. The Minis are not done. By the way, Ryan Turry is about to get into Matt Johnson's car. And I asked Ryan is one of the organizers with Jeff O'Neill of this event. And I said, you're surely not going to race in a weekend. I know Jeff races, but that's what he does. Ryan's running the event. He's in race control most of the day. If Ryan does get out there, hats off to him, because I think he should.
Oh, for sure. No, I mean 100%.
In comes the first Mustang.
Enjoying the race.
So the first of the Mustangs is in. The bonnet is off
6?
One of those Minis.
Was that the number 6 that came in here?
Or for the Americans tuning in, that's a hood.
If it is a number 6, this would be the one that Ryan Turry would get in. I do not see them making a driver change, though.
Okay.
So I think you might be right in assuming that Ryan did not get out of race control to get down in there in that car. But he's going to make his mandatory stop.
Well, we obviously want to keep an eye on the 111 coming in, because he's at the top of the hill at the moment, just about to dive down the corkscrew. Here he is.
Yeah, you figure his stop's going to come any second now. You don't want to miss the window and suffer a penalty, because I'm sure there's penalties for that.
And there's the Andrew Nelson Nick Swift car. Andrew out of the car, having done a little bit of off-tracking. And here comes your leader through turn 11. Now, is he going to pit this time? He's certainly coming towards the pit lane, but no, he's on the race line.
Fades right back to race line.
Okay. Another lap completed. He's gonna hold on till he's lapped the field.
And let me guess, you're going to try and get a black flag for not having his lights on yet?
Well, I don't understand. There seems to be a problem again, falling foul to the rules here. No lights on the Mustang. I think there will be an inquiry at the steward's office. Anybody from Great Britain, please head to the steward's office and crowd it immediately.
So I think we just lost all our Greenlight TV crew to that request, Jonathan.
Okay, yeah, they're all down there. No, it's definitely that the bonnet is off that. Couple more Minis coming in. So that Mini, I don't think in the foreground is going anywhere.
May not be surviving, to go out again.
76 has got the
doors
doors
open. But they're removing
open.
the bonnet of that 76 as well. I mean, it is like a sheet of paper on top of that is the bonnet on these cars.
In comes the 19 as well. Doors open. The 424 just popped in as well. That's a driver change. I think Gary Dreen is actually driving that on his own, so he'll just hold station and then go back out again, which is also an option. You don't have to do a driver change.
I'll also tell you what we see here, too, is a really neat signal by one of the drivers trying to call the driver in. He's got a little strobe light.
Good idea.
On pit wall.
Or is that to distract the opposition?
Trigger the epilepsy of somebody out there? That would be a cruel trick.
It would be. So down the hill again, we're seeing a push now for the 37. We've got 3 men behind one on the minis. Out goes the 61. We're watching what we're watching out the window as you look at the leader coming into 11. Will he pit this time, we wonder?
No. Looking at a no.
Now he's got some traffic in front of him. Out goes the 37 and the 61 back out on track. So there's plenty of action in the pit lane at the moment.
I mean, he's only got a 1.5 second 177 of Dennis Racine, so he's not exactly just pulling away from second place. This is still a race,
this is not over.
And Dennis has not pitted either to do their driver change. So this is very This is very Mercedes-Benz Red Bull Formula One fight here. Who's going to do the undercut, Jonathan?
Can you imagine all Formula One drivers doing a mini race?
David versus Goliath race here.
That would be fun.
Oh, you could certainly get, I believe, a Sebastian Vettel involved in that, a Daniel Ricciardo, a Lando Norris. There's definitely a list we could put together, the modern Formula One driver that would jump on board with that in a heartbeat.
Well, actually, probably even more fun would be getting retired Formula One drivers.
Oh, that would be good times too, right? Well, that's a driver switch, right? Modern Formula One driver has to switch to a retired Formula One driver.
There you go. So the lights are sparkling in the darkness now as dusk settles here over California and the Monterey Bay. A beautiful weekend. It's been beautiful weather, great racing, spectacular cars. Hats off to the organizers and to the Scenic Route for putting on this event. So many of the other organizers, Laguna themselves. It's been a long wait to get this race on. They had to give it up for a year, which was a real shame because they were ready to go, but obviously COVID stepped in and got in its messy way. There's Gilbert Hakim in the Shelby GT350, beautiful car. Out goes the 65 from pit lane, one of the minis.
Mark your calendars, though. 2022.
Here we go.
Mark your calendars, 2022.
Here comes your leader into the pits. Now, he should be handing over to Ken Adams.
October 14th to the 16th, 2022. If you want to be a part of this invitational, Velocity Invitational, mark your calendars.
So, as expected, the dominance of minis continues as Mini lead this race again. Clearly, the muscle car's not up to it. I jest. Mustangs. I'm going to get the Mustang fraternity on my back. Especially the man next to me, current Mustang driver.
Yeah, right. Exactly. The 969 has made their driver change. So that's going to be Randy Unsby given over to possibly David Cooper.
Yep, should be. Oh, look at that. What a great shot that is. Nice stuff, Matt.
Oh, yeah, we're looking for Ken Adams, but I don't think anyone got out of that Mustang. Did you see anyone get out of that, Jonathan?
No.
I believe that whoever started that race, if it was Mike or Ken, they are staying in it.
And there is the number 62. The back of that group. It's Andrew Waite, Martin Lauber. It's getting busy out there. But we're shuffling through the pit stops. Anything you can see out the window, what's going on in pit lane? Anything exciting?
No, I'm not seeing really anything other than the standard action. We're looking like we're checking maybe some fluids on that 66 car. The 19 out, so I believe the 19 car. I'll look at my notes here and see who we have in the 19.
So at the moment, it's Dennis Racine, who stayed out there in his Morris Mini Cooper S.
John Breslow in the 19 just left the pits. The white Mustang is back in. That was Matt Johnson seems to be come back in.
Yeah, we heard from him before the race started, and he was very excited.
They're taking a torque wrench to the right rear, so it might be he might have felt a vibration. Just wants to make sure.
Now, Marcus Hayes and Ed Lamentia in the 1971 British Leyland Mini in second place, and it's Chris Lock and Ed Lauber in the 65 Austin Mini Cooper S moving up to 3 as the pit stop shuttle the order.
Joe Huffaker just made their driver change, and then number 12 Mini Cooper, orange and silver.
That's a good story. Huffaker actually raced minis for a long time in SCCA and won, I think, seven titles.
Yeah, legendary name up here.
Yes,
so there's your leader right there, Dennis Racine. Has yet to make their pit stop, so I believe we should be seeing them dive down any second now, you would figure.
Do you think you could get away with not making the pit stop because it's dark?
You know,
unfortunately, data doesn't allow that.
Until you said something, yeah. I mean, they could have got away with it. So that was the only chance that your British Mark, I think, had to win, and I think you might have blown it for him, Jonathan.
I think
I've
ruined it. I've ruined it. I've let the plan out.
No, he stays out for Dennis does.
Dennis the Menace.
Yeah, but you got Mike Bakayoko or Ken Adams, one of the two, sitting here on pit road still. That was the dominant car until the pit stop.
Wonderful, wonderful way to finish the day. So cool. Chris Lock's just done his fastest lap at 155.8. That's hooning around in an Austin Mini.
Yeah, that's stout.
That's very good. Top speed about 92 past the start finish.
That's not a bad clip. I believe we got a little bit of a smoker here on pit lane. I believe it cleared out, you know. It's British, so you just had to start it, rev it, talk to it, you know, and then you're ready to go.
Yeah, put a safety pin in it.
Yeah. There goes Mike Bakayoko right there in the 111, heading back out.
He's going back out. Good. Well, he had been leading.
So the pit stop is done. He has completed his mandatory pit stop, so now it's up to seeing what Dennis Racine does. If he was able to really plant some laps down there while they had some clear racetrack in front of them, really maneuver the traffic, because it's really all going to come down to how they come back out in the pit stops and how that all blends.
Yep. And he must have to come in fairly soon, Dennis.
You would think. This is...
well, you keep an eye out.
I believe they would have like a rule, right? I mean, we're almost 10 minutes from the end of this race. This race has got... Oh, no, he's going to cycle another lap.
Well, he's going for glory.
Going for the glory.
Fake it till you make it. 66 heads out of the pits. And that's Michael Levine and Seth Huntley. So Seth should be at the wheel now. As back out on track now is the 111, who led the early part of the race and should shuttle back into the lead, but we'll see. It's never necessarily a truth, especially if the car that takes over the lead doesn't come in. Can't be easy actually when the sun's going down like this with lights blaring everywhere, and hard to see.
Well, you should be appeased. The Mustang, I see the lights are on, so they got your call.
Yeah, they got my call. Two more minis going back out on track.
Really beautiful shot there.
How about that? The Monterey Bay in the background. That is super.
Bay in the background, the lit up paddock. It's just breathtaking, every bit of it.
You booked the restaurant?
Did I?
I don't know. Did you?
Nah.
Oh, okay. Wow.
It's Sunday night. It'll be easy.
Well done at Pebble Beach, by the way. Just 2 shots you beat me by. Very good.
Oh, man, I know, right? And I can't believe we could count that high.
No. And I've never seen anybody throw a Frisbee that well.
I am quite the Frisbee golfer.
Yeah. So the Mini Cooper continues to lead here, but for how long?
It continues to lap. Yeah, they lap, and so it's going to be quite interesting to see when they're going to come in and make work of this.
Or maybe he can plan on a last-minute dash and then hope that
hope they don't notice.
Yeah, or hope that the Mustang gets held up. So Ken Adams up to 4th place already in the 66 Ford Mustang. There he is.
So that's either Ken or Mike. They never did a driver change, so whoever started the car is still in it. We got less than 20 minutes left in the race.
Well, that's still plenty of time. I'm wondering where this light's coming from. I think Lake's got a torch on his head. Lake, our cameraman, at the Corkscrew, has been there all weekend.
And for our domestic listeners, a torch is a flashlight.
There you go.
Not a torch.
Thank
not
you.
a blowtorch.
Oh, I see. Yeah, good point.
All of a sudden, we have a bunch of minis on track, and we're speaking the Queens.
Absolutely, quite right. Absolutely, as it should be. Bonnet, torch, boot.
Right, absolutely. I see it.
Spanner.
I'm just trying to keep us all up to speed here.
Yeah, what are these wrenches you speak of?
The spanner.
Yes, it's
the
a
wobbly.
spanner.
What's a wobbly?
It's exactly. Well, I'm about to have a wobbly if those minis don't win.
The 177 is still trucking along.
Yeah, he's refusing to pit.
Refusing to pit.
His team manager, Mr. Michael Caine, refusing to
say
bring
no
the
more.
mini in.
You have his team is calling into him. Heat on this field.
Yeah,
keep it up.
Yeah. Ooh, what are the minis?
Got one dead in the water there, right?
There?
Yeah, we got a local yellow.
Now this could be perfect for Dennis.
That's a really peculiar spot, especially in the dark. So hopefully there's plenty of attention.
Yeah,
being shown to that.
Joking aside, this does not want to be. You
well,
want to make sure that they know he's there.
If you're following another car very close, you go to pop to pass him on the inside because you get a run and you don't know that there's a car parked there.
To be fair, you would never take that line. He's right underneath the marshal's post, who is waving fairly strongly.
Right under the light.
Yeah, so they should see him, but it is a precarious position for sure. So we've got a local yellow at the start finish, 16 minutes to go. Your leader in the 177 in the red and white.
This is what I would pit. Is there's a chance?
Exactly.
It's got a chance of a double yellow.
Yeah. I don't think they'll do that though. I think they'll push it. You could probably lift a mini up and pull it over the wall.
Yeah, of course you could. I didn't see you pull your monocle at all out today.
Well, no, that's true. I haven't actually.
And now what are you going to do with it?
Well, I don't know. I'm going to look out the window. I can get a closer look at that yellow flag now. Would you like to look at the pit lane and see what's happening?
Maybe.
That's my Ted Kravitz device. And still the man refuses to pit. No, he's in. In comes the leader, and the Mini is in at last. Our leader comes in that Morris Mini Cooper S after a very, very good run. Dennis. Now we do have a full course yellow. Dennis is a maestro.
I don't know for full course. I think we're still local. I think
we're still local. What, with 2 trucks on the spot?
No, we're full course, I guess. But
I would be very surprised if we aren't, but there we go.
They don't seem to be driving like they are, like we're under full course.
No, they certainly don't. Well, we've got 2 trucks, recovery trucks, to pick out. Out comes Dennis. And through comes the 111. So, plenty of drama in this one, as there was in the first race on Friday. And if you're in the area or you're tuning in, book your tickets for next year. This is a great event and a great holiday to be on this part of the world, to be in this kind of temperature in November. You really can't beat it.
Going to be a little earlier in the year next year, a little October the 14th to the 16th.
Yeah, be even warmer, yeah. Nice.
We'll have more daylight, be before the daylight savings time change too.
That's true.
So it'll be more daylight, and so we'll miss out on some of this maybe action that falls under the lights. But we'll still have all the fantastic action that we've seen in 2021.
Now, if I'm right in saying, here should be your new leader. And as he crosses the strip.
No, he was a lap down.
Of course, he's
one
got
more
to catch
lap.
the lap up. Yeah. Okay, because of course it's a longer pit stop. But both the trucks have gone. That was quick. Good work by the marshals to clear that, because that was precarious. I don't like.
No, that night it was not a good spot.
Because it's at the kink, you know, and it's at a place where you wouldn't expect a car to stop.
It's not where, like, you're right, not your normal line, but it's not that. That's not the problem. The problem is if you're in
flat
a nip,
out there.
Well, if you're nip tuck, and you go to pop on the person that you're behind, you
would never see
have no idea who's there, and you're going to pop to the inside and wonder why they're leaving it open like they did, and you're going to be blasted into, you know, at 90 miles an hour into a parked car. Nobody wants to see that. So great move by the marshals, great move by the
to keep things going,
great call by the Chief Star, and great job by the marshals to keep it all going.
Well, and of course there is the ever looming noise.
Then we have another car up here.
Another car parked up. It's all going on. 12 minutes to go.
That car was not in a bad spot, though. They could pull the green and they could hang out and watch the race from there.
There you go. Yeah,
that's not a horrible spot here. It's
Plus,
not a great
his
spot.
lights are still on so that he can be seen clearly anyway.
It's not a great spot, but it's not a horrible spot.
I tell you what, that floodlight. Well, here we go. Here's the safety car. Now this makes things interesting. Behind the safety car is the 65. Now I don't know how this will work in terms of, but there's that looming 111. And he could well be in second place now. We'll see as they come down the hill. But the Porsche leads them through under safety. And we're going to have a great grandstand of, 10 minutes or so? Racing.
Yeah, because they're going to get this group bunched back up, and then they're going to send them, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah.
It will not take long. So because of the evening, we'll be done with our drone shots, but
great job. Fantastic.
By our pilots. I mean, you got the ultimate praise.
Yeah, it's not often when the Formula One team manager or team CEO gives you a compliment to your drone pilot. That's nice.
Well, that was the wave around. So you have now the Mustang of Mike Bakayoko and Ken Adams, the shared Mustang, sitting right up there in the front.
Yep. And they got a dive bomb him into Andretti, I think, when it goes for green again.
Well, that just got them on the lead lap. This was that right there just got them back onto the lead lap. So if they pass them next time around in the pit stop, that'll put them into the lead. But they are the first car single lap down. Well, now on the lead lap.
Moving up to third place, Shannon and Alex Penrith in a 1965 Austin Mini Cooper S.
I love the neon lights too. You can that team knows exactly when that car is coming down the hill from Wayne Rainey all the way down into, really, really sharp thinking there from those folks.
Now, heading out of 3 and getting them all line astern. Out of the pits comes the 177.
Oh, did they leave the pits here, Johnny? The 177.
Yes. So, I presume that's Dennis again, because he's not got a. At least on the entry list, he's not got a.
Well, he's got Dylan. Dylan Wittenauer is on the timing and scoring, sharing with Dennis Racine.
Okay. Well, he's added that from Friday, which is great.
So safety vehicles are still on course, so they might be.
Yeah, the one at the top of the hill. Yeah. Good stuff. By the way, Laguna Seca has never had a night race. There's a real reason for that, because of obviously the noise pollution or noise control that they have here. They're very strict with it. So this is the first time we've had headlights at Laguna and racing effectively in near dark. Now that's why we've got a safety car. He's dragging it out of harm's way.
We want to make sure we have our lush greens from the Merrill Farms too, and
you're pushing for that sponsorship, aren't you?
Noisy nights don't really grow great fresh vegetables.
I'm going to see you in a broccoli-colored car next year, aren't I?
No, I love that. It was a great story. It was great to find that background in the family. I had no idea, and I've got a special affection for our farmers, and as we all should, they provide us all the good nutrients that we need to keep trugging along day after day.
Yep. So we now have, as we come to complete this lap, the leader back here behind the pace car.
This should show us on timing and scoring a lead change. As well, now you're going to call a black flag because it looks like the lights went out on the Mustang. But yeah, I think we should see a change on the leaderboard, and we don't actually.
He's just gone into cloak mode. That's all.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's got the 177 is actually still on this lap. So once they come around to the start-finish line, we should see that change.
I see. So we await the restart, or the restart for racing anyway, for the Minis against the Mustangs. David versus Goliath, a great way to end the weekend. They've had two fantastic races in dusk to dark, putting on a great show. I remember going down after the race on Friday night, and the chatter was like a bunch of school kids after playing football or whatever, just everybody chatting away and just really enjoying each other's company and talking about their stories from the race and so on and so forth. Great atmosphere.
It was. It truly was. And you could see there's so many people that extended their evening into tomorrow. I mean, the airport will be busy tomorrow morning, but tonight there's not going to be anyone leaving here.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I think the party's going to continue. No one that we've spoken to wants this weekend to end. And this paddock has stayed full, where usually it's like, people tend to bail out once their day is done, and that's not what we found in this. And I mean, we got to, we're under safety truck issue at this point, but I believe we should be going green hopefully pretty soon. Because we're less than 7 minutes left, so if we went green right away, we're looking at maybe about 3 laps left. Okay. 3-4 laps.
Here we go.
I don't want to hear it about the headlights of the Mustang, John. I really don't.
I like the LEDs. Look at that. Well, there's a nice smattering of Mustangs in between all the Minis. Now, the lights, I think, are we done, do you think?
I think the hazards are still on, and usually that's a sign that we're not going green, and we're not.
No, fair enough.
I think we're going at least one more lap around here.
Which would.
And at night, it's so hard to pick up on maybe where the issue might be. We don't know if there's fluids on track
that's
somewhere.
True.
There could be something else that these drivers are calling in that we have no idea about. Oh, we're going to get a wave around. So I believe this is to get timing and scoring sorted.
I see.
This whole thing this issue we've been missing with timing and scoring. So this is the wave around. And this is to get everyone on the right lap. This is to get Dennis probably right behind the pace car. And then you'll see Mike Bakayoko pull up right behind Dennis. So this is going to be, it's going to delay it a little bit, waiting for the group to catch. So we'll probably get maybe a couple of green flag laps. I could see us doing a green-white checkered would be something that I would see in the near future for our final race of this wonderful Velocity Invitational.
Yeah, it's been a great weekend. Any highlights? What's your highlight for you?
So highlight for me is that the Porsche parade was certainly a highlight to see those fantastic Porsches out there. To watch Pat Award, a little glimpse into maybe this possible future there in the 1998 McLaren, the World Championship winning Formula One car. That was special to see, and to have him up here share that experience with us, and you can just see the raw excitement in that young man's face, and to know what's going ahead for him, it's just that's exciting.
And as a journalist, to hear Pato say that he is going for the Triple Crown officially and recorded.
I'm telling you, you heard it here first.
Yep.
And I think that's the first he's spoken into existence, and if Patricio Award goes down in history as being the first driver to complete, we knew it right away.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
That's going to be a special moment, not only for him, obviously, but it will be for us too.
Well, am I right in saying Graham Hill's the only one that's done it?
I don't know, because did Graham LeMond win Le Mans?
Wouldn't have done Le Mans, no. Okay, so
no one's done it.
No one's done it.
No one's done it.
It is still
Alonso was supposed to be the first.
Yeah, Montoya's won Monaco and of course the 500,
but never got Le Mans.
Nope.
Mario's won Monaco, and he's won the Indy 500, but never won Le Mans.
Well, there's time, tell him.
Yeah. Well, Le Mans was the only one he never won.
Yeah.
That was the only marquee event that he never got. No, the only crown jewel event he never got to put in.
I think he can put up with that.
So I'm sure they really want, this 111 to pick up a little bit of pace so that they can catch that group and go green as soon as possible. So I'm sure they're rushing them right along. I don't see where else the issue might be on track that would be holding them up, because there are some pretty heavy headlights out there, as you can see.
Yeah, they're already about half a lap behind the pace car at this point.
So that's good too, and it's up to the pace car too to slow the front up, to slow up the cars that they have. And we experience this a lot in racing. We do the wave around quite often. It's a mainstay in motorsport, so this is not something that's new. And just so the folks at home understand, timing and scoring is operated in such a way that it can't be tampered with.
No,
so
exactly.
You can't just add and take laps away from a group. You have to, and they've gone green. Green flag is out.
Okay, here we go.
Green flag is waving. So pace car's off the track and green flag's out. Our leaders being shown. Timing and scoring is the 177 of Dennis Racine. With 2 minutes left on the clock, Jonathan, this is hopefully going to turn out to be exciting right here at the end. It seems to be a little,
I hope so. I hope we
bit
get
convoluted here.
Exactly, yeah. I hope we do get a bit of at least a sprint finish.
It will be certainly a green-white checker, as that's what time's going to allow.
Yeah. And I tell you what, there's going to be an almighty battle between the minis behind the Mustang. Here's your leader.
Yeah, there is the 177, getting the hustle. Right-hand drive, Mini Cooper, like nature intended, right, Jonathan?
Exactly, as nature intended. You got it. You'll get there. There's an Englishman in you somewhere.
So you're going to be over the moon if this goes through. I mean, this is, I'm calling a little bit of bad politics here that they called the green on it so early, but, at the same time, I got to put some responsibility on my man in the 111 for not closing up that gap a little bit stronger.
Here we go, down into 11 we come. 1 minute left in our David and Goliath race, the second of the weekend and the final race of Velocity. He's going to get the white flag as he comes round, and I can see it waving outside our window, and he does. 1 lap to go, though, the final lap of the 2021 Velocity Invitational. And appropriately, it is the 177 of Dennis Racine and Dylan Wittenauer leading the way for Mini. Into Andretti for the last time. And it would be rather appropriate if Dennis could pull this off, because he pretty much put this whole field together with a little help. I tell you what, I know that Laguna is not set up for night racing, but they do a pretty good job with the floodlights they've got. Yeah,
they did a really good job of placing the lights, as we heard from the people that did compete. And also want to make sure that I clarify something I've been misspeaking as well, so that people that watch this aren't so confused. But they had 10 minutes left in the whole 45-minute session. You had to have your driver change and be back on track with 10 minutes left. So that was the rule.
Right.
So it's going to be important to see if the 177 made that rule and how that comes up. Because you were so adamant about the single headlight on the Mustang on Friday night. I'm going to really drive home the fact that I don't know if Dennis was out of there in the 177 in time.
Well, I just saw the Mustang come across the line,
Yeah, that's a minute 14 gap, so I don't see that
I don't
closing
see that
up
closing
on
out.
this final lap.
Well,
but
I think that is karma, as they say. Because if Mini wins this one, it's 1-1. And then the race is on for 2022.
It is. We can start fresh, right? I say that I get in a Mustang and you get in a Mini next year.
Okay.
And we commentate from the car.
From the car. I like it.
We got to make that happen. You know what a pit maneuver is?
No, but you'll tell me. Here's the checkered flag. You'll tell me in a moment. Because Dennis Racine is going to take the mighty Mini to victory here at the WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, as it should be for King George, Queen Elizabeth et al. Well done. Well done, chap. Well,
you know, it's
done.
worth it just to see this excitement in you. It truly is, because, you know, that's one thing you do lack sometimes, Jonathan, is excitement.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
But no, I'm so happy for you guys. You know, the weekend started off with a big Americana win, and you guys get to end it with this. This is what a great day. It's special for Dennis and Dylan and that whole group over there, and I'm sure they're going to really enjoy and spray the Prosecco, as they say, and have a wonderful, wonderful celebration. This is P2 right here, the 111. Let's not forget Mike Bakayoko and Ken Adams in that 1966 Ford Mustang, giving a great showing, even though they were a bit robbed with the early restart, but that was a great showing nonetheless.
I think it was fantastic thinking by Dennis to hold off to do the pit stop so he got the full time while the safety car was on track. Excellent strategy there.
Now, that was a Dennis's teammate that stopped on the front
that's
straightaway here, was it?
So here we go, second place coming across the line very soon.
Finding a little Nelson Piquet, Fernando Alonso.
A little bit of Singapore.
Yeah, a little Singapore thing.
Yeah, I was there at that race. Ken Adams then comes across the line to take second place for the 66 Ford Mustang, and it will be the Shelby GT350 from 1966 of Matt Johnson and Ryan Turry taking third place.
So this is like a complete flip of what we saw Friday. Now, if we're going to go with the dominance of a podium, then dominated on the podium is the Mustangs. You know, you got Matt Johnson and Ryan Turry in the 1966 Shelby GT350.
Do I have to
rounding
tell you,
out our podium?
The second and third, mate. I mean, no. Adam, do I have to remind you? You're howling at the moon when it comes to this.
Oh, I think I'm winning this.
And we'll give the final shot to Ron, and there he is. Nice work, Ron Bigford. And yes, what a night. The moon is up, and that concludes what has been an amazing.
A little bit of a flicker on the lights that are being on at the track out there.
I think it's time to go home.
Yeah, so it's, I think the bartender's trying to tell us last
lights
call.
out, last call. Well, that would be baby shams all round for Mini, I say. You won't know what a baby sham is.
No, I can't even translate that, Queens.
That's all right. So well done to Dennis Racine and Dylan Wittenauer, Mike Bakayoko and Ken Adams, and Matt Johnson and Ryan Turry. We've had a lot of fun. My thanks to both Kiri and Kev, and to all our great cameramen and our drone pilots who've done a great job. We are going to howl to the moon, but my thanks to the organizers, to Jeff O'Neill and to Ryan Turry, and to Brittany Kinch for putting on what has been a splendid event. Well done to Greenlight TV. My thanks to Adam Andretti, who has always kept me solid, I hope, and kept us entertained. We'll leave that final shot looking at the moon. Anyway, we're just two fishes swimming in a fish bowl, as Pink Floyd would say. I'll see you on the dark side of the moon. From me, Jonathan Green. Join us next time for Velocity Invitational 2022, which will be happening in October next year. Get your tickets, look on the website, and join us next time out. Goodbye until next year.